I kept to the shadows, a face unseen, too shy to speak, yet, too cringe. Zara, how's the poem? I'm going live in 60 seconds. Just a few minutes. I'm almost done. Hi, I'm Zara, writer, overthinker, professional shadow dweller. And that's Maya, my stepsister. Same age, but from opposite planets. Oh, my sweet little Shakespeare. Give me the goods. My mom married her dad a year ago. Maya's a mega social media star with millions of followers, viral videos, and because she was always sharing lovely poems, her fans call her the word queen. Everyone praised Maya's talents online and at school, but no one knew the real poet was me. The words were mine, but the applause was hers. Even though I wish I could hear those words of praise, I know it's just not possible. Even if I wanted to perform, I couldn't. I dreamed of being published one day, maybe under a pen name, just like my favorite poet, LK, who dropped his first collection at 14 without anyone even knowing what he looked like. I'm painfully shy. I literally fainted during open mic once. I don't even raise my hand in class, even when I know the answer. I couldn't even share my poetry in front of my parents. I just didn't have the courage. In the meantime, at least I knew my poems were good, thanks to Maya. We got along. Our parents got along. Life was chill. But all that was about to change, in the most epic way possible. It was in the 11th grade. I was drafting a new poem for Maya when I saw him. The most handsome guy I had ever seen walked into my classroom. Everyone, welcome Liam. He just transferred to our school. Ooh, he's gorgeous! Maya could be so shameless when it came to boys. But this time, yeah, I couldn't even blame her. The guy looked like he walked straight out of a Korean movie. Liam, would you like to introduce yourself? Despite all the eyes on him, Liam walked straight to the back of the class, picked an empty seat, and buried his head in his arms like no one else existed. And Maya didn't take not being noticed too well. Well. Hey, new guy. Liam, right? I'm Maya, school queen and your future girlfriend. He ignored her. Like, actually ignored her. Which for someone like Maya was basically a public slap in the face. Fine, be that way then. You will be begging me to date you in no time. Seeing a guy turn Maya down for the first time was epic. But seriously, couldn't the guy talk? It didn't take long for rumors about him being mute to start spreading. Honestly, I started believing it too. He never spoke, never reacted. Until a month later, and that's when everything changed. In my quest to hopefully conquer my overt shyness, I joined the school's poetry club. And it had been fine so far, but what I didn't expect was to see Liam show up at my club. Does anyone have a beautiful poem they'd like to share with the class this week? It could be something you've written yourself or a poem by a poet you love. I always had something, but sharing it out loud, in front of people, I still hesitated almost every time. Liam quietly volunteered, and for the first time, I heard his voice.
In the quiet I bloom. No stage, no lights, no room. Just a whisper and a pen. Again and again.
His voice was soft and steady. And that poem, I knew it. It wasn't his original. It was written by LK, my favorite poet ever. Was he a fan of LK too? Was this fate? I stayed up all night thinking about him. I wanted to talk about poetry, life, weather, anything. Or maybe we could write a poem together. Or, get married. Now I knew he could talk. I made an effort to talk to him, and it backfired full time. The poem he read yesterday was beautiful. Why don't you speak up more often?
Asking me why I don't talk often when you barely speak? Pretty hypocritical, don't you think?
Wait, so he had noticed me? He probably just thought I was the shy, quiet type, which was true. But that wasn't all I wanted him to know about me. If he's so into poetry, maybe the only way to get his attention is with a poem. So I wrote one. An honest, personal confession of admiration. Maybe even feelings. I'd slip it into his locker before the club's meeting tomorrow. Even if he might ignore it, I had to try. But the next morning, I couldn't find the poem anywhere. Has anyone seen the pink paper sheet on my desk?
What's wrong, honey?
Maybe the wind blew it away. Nobody had any clue, and I was running late, so there wasn't time to rewrite. But later at school, Maya burst into the cafeteria holding that exact pink note. Everyone, listen up! I have something important to say, especially to you, Liam. It was my poem, my feelings, but in her voice. Hearts don't speak, but mine will. One glance and I'm undone. Say the word and I'm the one. Maybe Liam liked it.
You wrote that? I didn't think you were the poetry type. So why aren't you in the poetry club?
Everything inside me shattered. My poem, my crush, gone, taken from me. I felt used, betrayed. Seeing them hang out after that hurt. And the worst part, I couldn't confront her without our parents getting involved. But I couldn't just let it slide. Sweet sister, I'm going live in 10 minutes. Got a poem for me? I'm not feeling very poetic today. Do something else for your fans. Wait, what? You always have a poem. Geez, I don't know, maybe because you've already stolen them all? Like the last one, remember? Daddy! As expected, she went running to Dad.
Zara, get down here!
But this time, I wasn't going to put up with the unfairness anymore. Even with all of Maya's tricks to make our parents believe I was the bully, I wasn't afraid anymore.
Why didn't you help your sister?
I had actual schoolwork, and maybe I just didn't feel like being used today.
The least you could do is support my daughter's dreams.
Oh, so you don't see me as your daughter too, huh? What about my dreams?
Zara?
No, Mom, I'm done with being Maya's personal poet. When do I get to matter? She stole something that meant everything to me.
Stole what? What are you talking about?
That poem I was looking for? Maya took it and performed it like it was hers, in front of Liam. That poem was personal. My confession. Maya looked at me like I was gum on her shoe. And I performed it better.
Maya! Don't speak to my daughter like that. Oh, now she's your daughter again?
See what I said about my parents not getting along if Maya and I didn't get along? That was it. The world thinks I wrote it. Liam clearly liked it. Be real, Zara. Even if you wrote him 1,000 poems, you'd never have the guts to say one out loud. You don't have the guts. Even my parents were staring after her in shock. They probably never knew how selfish she was till now. Her laugh echoed in my brain for hours. And right then, I knew I was done being quiet. It was time to step out of the dark. I started small, spoke up more in class, lifted my eyes when I answered, and the teacher praised me for the progress I'd made. During a class discussion about LK's most iconic poems, the teacher once again seemed eager to hear my thoughts.
Zara, what do you think LK meant by this poem?
Oops, everyone don't look at Zara. If you look at Zara, she freezes up like a statue and goes totally silent. And then the whole class burst into laughter, throwing mocking looks my way. It's about guilt. You can feel it, like he's haunted by something he did. The room went quiet. Everyone was gaping at me, including Liam.
Wow, that was a bold interpretation. But, you're not quite right. Thoughts, Liam? That's exactly what it's about.
Wait, what?
How can you be sure? Because I wrote it. LK. Liam Clint. That's me. Well done, Zara.
The room exploded. Everyone wanted his autograph. I couldn't believe my ears. He was the child prodigy who published an inspiring collection of poems at 14. No wonder I was so drawn to him. Something shifted after that. Liam and we started talking. Books, lyrics, stupid grammar jokes. He even asked me to read his upcoming poetry collection. We had that kind of spark that just came naturally. Maya sensed it and started being even meaner than ever before. She spread rumors that I had a crush on the librarian and even made fun of my secondhand shoes. I paid her no mind, thinking she'd get bored eventually. Until she crossed the line. A classmate was having a party and invited everyone. Maya convinced me that the themes was 80s chic, but when I arrived, it was a pool party and everyone else was in bikinis. I wanted to melt into the pool and never come out, but what came out of her lips next was even more shocking. Look at her, Liam. Always awkward. She's my sister and I can't even deal with her sometimes.
How can you say that about your sister?
Liam, come on. You and we make sense. Talented poets. Can you imagine the internet when you and I, the famous LK, and the social media rising star performed together? We'd be the ultimate power couple. That was the last straw. You, a poet? Do you have a problem with that? Yeah, I challenge you to a poetry battle. Tomorrow, at school. Are you sure you can speak without fainting? Don't worry about me. No more moping. Time to fight fire with poetry. After coming home, I locked myself in my room all evening. Fueled by determination, I poured my heart into verses I knew would reclaim my dignity and expose Maya's lies. When the battle began, Maya insisted on going first, calling it an act of bravery. Fine by me. Let's see how much longer she can keep up this act. This poem is special. It's called Mirrored Lies. I wear her face, but not her soul. I want the boy, but it plays no role. Talentless. Afith, you may. Her voice started shaking. Oh yeah, she just realized too late that the poem was about her. I stole her voice? What nonsense did you write here, Zara? Oh, so now it belongs to me? I stole it from you! Guys, it's just a mistake. Zara probably set me up because she was afraid to lose. I couldn't believe she could be that shameless. And then, the screen behind her lit up, playing the footage of how she had snuck into my room and stolen my work. The entire auditorium erupted, whispers spreading like wildfire. How could you? If you didn't want to be caught, you shouldn't have done it. The hidden camera got everything. I know you too well, sis. That trap was mine. Time to end your years of lies.
So, it's just as I suspected. Zara writes the poems and you recite them like they're yours, huh? I knew it. The way you talk is too shallow for someone who loves poetry.
Maya ran like the devil was after her. As she did, our eyes met for just a second. With her gone, it was my turn to sing. My hands were trembling. My throat was dry. But I was done watching from backstage while someone else took the credit. This is for the ones who were told to shrink so others could shine. Who owns a story if it's told by another? I took a deep breath, embraced the emotion, and began reading the poem I poured my soul into. You took what was mine and made it your crown. I spoke about being the soul behind the spotlight that never touched me until now. My words aren't yours to keep, to mold, to bend. This theft ends now, Maya. This is the end. I got a standing ovation. I took the risk, and this time, I shined. From that day on, the tables turned. Maya could only stare as her followers vanished one by one. All the people who followed me for my poetry have gone. It's all your fault.
Zara's poetry, you mean? Next time, try writing your own words. And I think you still owe Zara an apology.
I thought you were on my side. I'm your beloved daughter.
Zara is my daughter too. We spoiled you, made you think everything should be yours. But life doesn't work like that.
Dad, do something about these two now!
How could you treat my precious daughter like that?
So only your daughter is precious, huh? Then you can both pack your things and leave our house right now. I guess we're not valuable enough for you to stay with. Mom's reaction caught me off guard. I never thought she could change so quickly. Dad and Maya left the house in anger, unable to stand her unwavering stare. I'm truly sorry for neglecting you all this time. I failed as a mother, but please, give me a chance to make it up to you. We held each other tightly, bursting into tears, an embrace that quietly healed what time had broken. That night, I uploaded my poems under my real name and social media lit up. This gave me goosebumps, realest thing I've heard in a while. At last, I found the confidence I had lost, and this time I had my mom by my side, truly caring. That made me happy. I was a different Zara now. Zara who knew her worth.
I've been thinking. For my next collection, do you think we could collab?
What? Are you for real?
Yeah, I'll have my manager draft something up. We split the revenue, creative control. I just want to duet with you. That poem was fire.
Oh my god. Was he catching feelings? Okay, play it cool, girl. Sounds good, but I still haven't gotten your autograph.
Autograph? I was thinking of asking you on a date.
Yes! Oh god, yes. It's a date. Helping each other shine is kind, but never let your own light dim just to keep someone else glowing.
Is it usual for you to sit on strangers the first time you meet them? This jerk! I'll show him that he's messing with the wrong girl. It's fine. Please don't hit him. Don't worry. And this is for mugging a kid. No, you got it wrong. He just saved me from those muggers, and he was just teaching me how to fight back at them. Oh my. I thought it was just because the boy's bag was on the ground and that guy was holding his arm like he was about to hit him. I awkwardly stood up, literally screamed out to apologize, then ran straight home. So, as you can see, my home's a little different from the usual. My parents run a nursing home, so I grew up surrounded by the elderly. You were so embarrassed that you left him laying there and ran away? The first time I met my husband, I also knocked him over with my Dolio Chuggy. Perhaps this boy is your destiny. Poof! No way, Mrs. Jones. Suddenly, my dad huffed past us. Oh no, I know that look. Something was bad. Lately, our finances haven't been so good. I went after him to check he was okay and found him talking to a man in the yard. On seeing me, the strange man waved me over. Do you know this person? Huh? That was the guy I almost punched earlier. That's right. The person you almost knocked out is my son. I saw everything, so I followed you here. He's got in with a bad crowd and lost focus on his studies. I want you to steer him in the right direction. I don't want to be a babysitter. I'm sorry. It's too bad about this nursing retreat, isn't it? Seems like it'll have to close soon. Although, if swayed, I don't mind being a major sponsor. This was insane. So, all I needed to do was keep an eye on his son, and all the nursing home's problems would be solved? Dad said I didn't have to do it if I didn't want to, but how could I say no? Okay, I'll do it. So, which school am I transferring to? Geez, everything here was so shiny. But if I had a choice, this would be the last school in town I ever wanted to attend. I entered the classroom and walked over to the only empty seat that happened to be at the back. I was about to sit down, then... Some dude pulled the chair aside and caused me to fall onto my butt. A hand appeared to pull me up, but as I went to grab it, it immediately drew back, leaving me sitting there embarrassed, while everyone's laughing at me. Oops, sorry. I guess I should only give a hand when asked, right? Ugh, it was Blake. I quickly regained my cool face, sat down, and put on my headphones, pretending like I didn't hear any of those comments from other students about my rustic look. This girl seems interesting. The usual. $1,000 if you can win her heart in a month. Deal? Blake glanced at me and sneered at the guy. Easy. Deal. So that's how it's gonna be, is it? Luckily, I hadn't turned my music on yet, hence why I heard the whole conversation. Let me help you get some extra pocket money then, Blake. And it didn't take him long to start implementing his plan. At lunchtime, he enthusiastically led me to the canteen, guided me to get food, and even asked the lunch lady to get me an extra portion of yogurt. Nice try. I was trying to enjoy my lunch when a shrill voice sounded out. Get up and get me some food. I want a cupcake just like yours. Now! Jeez, Why did some girls think it was okay to treat guys like this? Frustrated, I went over there, picked up the cake from that boy's tray, and shoved it into her mouth. There, happy now? Poor thing. Your arms must be so broken that you can't get food yourself. Let me feed you then. You're welcome. Are you crazy? You're dead meat today. She raised her hand about to slap me, but I quickly dodged, causing her to fall to the ground. As for me, I calmly sat down next to the boy and had my lunch. Sorry for wasting the cake. You can have my yogurt if you want. He's Kai, my first friend at this new school. He's witty, smart, and has a seriously impressive academic record. He was actually here on scholarship, which explained why he didn't quite fit in, just like me. I noticed how Blake seemed rather annoyed and kept staring at me. I bet he was just fed up with being teased by his friends, since I just totally ignored him. Oh, but he didn't give up that easily. The next morning, he showed up at mine to pick me up, but I'd rather run 2 laps around the schoolyard for being late than share a ride with you. Then at school, he tripped me up and then reached out his hand pretending to help. But between you and the floor, I picked the floor. He even waited for me at the school gates with a huge bouquet of roses, but I just took one look at them, then started coughing. Are you allergic to flowers? Nope, I'm allergic to immature and boring people, like you. Then I walked off. Ugh, as if every girl was gonna fall for these lame tricks. This carried on for the next few weeks, but then one time, he approached me in the library while I was studying with Kai and handed me a necklace. I looked at it, then passed it back to him and turned to talk to Kai. Seriously? You're turning me down for this nerd? Kai's smart, gallant, and sophisticated. Unlike you. All you are is a troublemaker. Are you looking down on me? Oh, finally. I was wondering how much longer would it take for you to figure that out. Not to mention, you've not helped once with the English Lit essay. You're in my group, but you probably just think the Grapes of Wrath is a rock band or something. So, if I can finish that essay on my own, will you go on a date with me? Fine, but it has to score an A, else you can forget it. And my trick worked. Blake actually completed the essay on his own. He's smart, but he's neglectful of his studies, and it's made him make mistakes. On being handed back the essay, Blake's face fell. He got a B, and even though he knew it was over, he still stayed in class to reread the teacher's comments. It seemed like this was the first time he actually put in the effort to do something. What's wrong? Still in denial of your failure? Blake turned away without looking at me. The rich boy who lost the game for the first time looked so cute. So I put a gift with a message in it on Blake's desk. Needless to say, he was over the moon. In it was a set of clothes I'd bought for him, and an invitation to a bar at the weekend. Why, you wonder? Oh, you'll see. That Saturday night, Blake showed up in the outfit I had gifted him, and looked anything but pleased. I can't come in wearing this. It's so old-fashioned. My friends will laugh at me. You invited your friends, too? To prove that you won the bet, right? If you get that $1,000, will I have a share? You already knew it? I was just joking at first. But now... Let's go inside now. Don't worry, we won't be here for long. I dragged him inside, and immediately, his friends didn't miss the opportunity to tease me. Did the fish get hooked? Yes, I'm trapped. Quickly give him $1,000. His family is bankrupt and in dire need of money. Huh? What? You're lying. Look, he's wearing donated clothes. Even his branded clothes have been liquidated. I winked at Blake, and he immediately reacted. Lend me some money. I need a place to stay, a sports car, and pocket money too. At this point, his friends turned nasty and told him he no longer qualified to be in their group. You didn't have to do that. I already knew they only hung out with me for the money. But that's what people are just like. Why would he think that? He must have never been cared for and loved properly. Get rid of that face. This is a date after all. Let me make it up to you. A bar that matches this outfit. So I dragged Blake to our evening party. I told everyone that I brought a friend to lend a hand, and the elderly immediately made him do all sorts of things. Mrs. Hastings asked him to climb the tree to hang the string lights. Mr. Derbyshire called him to chop wood for the campfire, and Mr. Shaw wanted him to taste his homebrewed beer. Then the next second, Blake's already sitting on the drum throne. It's been a long time since we had a young volunteer. That boy seems fine, doesn't he? I saw the way he looked at you. He's not suitable for me. I shrugged in response to her, and suddenly felt disappointed. Yes, I liked this different side to him, but we were still from different worlds. The next morning at school, I still saw Blake hanging out with his greedy friends. Looks like he hadn't learned his lesson. Frustrated that all my efforts were in vain, I swung open my locker. What was this note? Meet me at the library at 6 p.m. when everyone has left. I have a surprise for you. B. I shouldn't be like this, right? Waiting for him at the library for hours until everyone left, nervous and excited. But as soon as the last person left, the lights suddenly went out, and the library door slammed shut. What's happening? Could it be that the note wasn't from Blake? I screamed out of fear. That's right. I may excel at martial arts, but I hate the dark. With a shaking hand, I dialed the phone to call Blake, and then slumped down in fear and sobbed. At that moment, the sound of the door unlocking startled me. As soon as the door opened, I quickly ran to hug Blake.
Are you okay? I can't believe Chloe did this. I told you not to get near them.
Huh? This wasn't Blake's voice.
Freya, are you okay?
Oh my god, it was Kai who opened the door to save me. But I thought that... I quickly let go of him, then ran away in embarrassment. That's strange. When I was in danger, the first person I thought of was Blake. Could it be that I really liked him? At that moment, the phone rang. It was my dad. Mrs. Jones had suffered a heart attack and needed surgery immediately. But the surgery cost was so much. Where could we get that money? Ah, yes, Blake's dad. So I called him. Hello, is this Mr. Morris? Blake stopped hanging out with his friends and did his homework. I really need the money now. Please, it's urgent.
Are you bringing me out to trade with my dad?
My god, it seems like Blake heard all the conversation.
So, I'm just your money-making tool? And all this time you've trained me as your pet?
It's not like that. We'll talk later. There's no time for your selfish thoughts right now. I gotta go. I ran like crazy to the hospital. My parents were desperate, and the money hadn't arrived yet. So I called Mr. Morris again.
You said Blake had changed. If this is the case, then why did he just get fined for speeding and resisting police? Don't ever call me again. Don't worry, Freya. I'll sell the nursing home land to take care of Mrs. Jones. Everyone's agreed to move to the government nursing home.
We sold our house, and now we live with Mrs. Jones in a new town. She's so much better now, but I do miss the other elderly people. Also, I miss Blake. I still keep in touch with Kai, and he told me that Blake has gone to some military school like his dad wanted. Well, that's unexpected from him. You should talk to that guy. Not about what you did, but confess your feelings to him. That will save you from regrets later. Then she patted me on the shoulder to comfort me, but I really don't have the courage to do it. I was feeling guilty.
Mrs. Jones, you have a letter.
Freya, look. It's the invitation to a nursing home concert. It's our concert, isn't it? Trembling, I took the invitation. What is this? I pushed Mrs. Jones's wheelchair to the door of the nursing home named Sunflower. When we walked in, we all burst into tears. Everyone was there.
This is all Blake's doing. He's such a kind boy. He found us and built us a dream nursing home. You and Freya were the surprise gift we prepared for him, but as soon as he saw the two of you, he ran away.
Hearing that, I rushed to the gate. A car passed me. My gut told me it was him. I ran after it and shouted in despair, "Blake, wait! I like you! I really like you!" But the car quickly went out of sight. I helplessly slumped down on the street, tears streaming down my face, and I still muttered, "I really do like you."
What are you saying? Say it louder.
I turned around startled. It was Blake. He was in his military uniform and smiling at me fondly. I was sitting on the couch watching a movie with my mom and dad, when suddenly the door slammed shut and we all turned our heads to see what happened. Yep, that's my big sister Taylor making an entrance. She slumped down on the couch and banged her feet on the coffee table. Then, as she scrolled through her phone, she looked up at us and huffed out, why are you all gawping at me like I'm an animal in a zoo? Am I not welcome here?" Flustered, my mom immediately replied, "No, sweetie, we're all delighted to have you home." Then she turned to me. "Anne, darling, go and get your sister a drink." I jumped up to my feet and did as Mom asked. I know what you're thinking. Why is everyone letting Taylor get away with her Little Miss Rude routine? You see, after a huge argument with Mom, she left home at 18, and didn't come back for 7 whole years. Mom seemed so pleased to have her back, so I decided to ignore Taylor's attitude and just go along with it. That afternoon, Mom asked me to go to the grocery store with her so we could buy Taylor her favorite foods, as well as a welcome back gesture. Then we spent ages preparing this delicious meal. I excitedly rushed up to Taylor's room and knocked on the door. "Taylor, dinner's ready!" She shouted back. "Go away!" "But it's hamburgers, and we got a special dessert," I replied. "Poof! I hate hamburgers, and there's no way I'm eating some sugar-laden dessert." I went downstairs and told Mom that she wasn't coming. Mom shrugged and tried to act like it was no big deal, but I could see the sadness in her eyes. Dad tried reassuring her by saying,
She probably just needs time to settle in.
"Yeah, she's probably just tired," I added. Mom forced out a smile and thanked us both. Then she prepared a plate of food and asked me to bring it to Taylor. I knocked on her door and told her the food was outside. She shouted back at me, "Take it away! I don't want it!" I left it outside of her room, but later on when Mom went up to bed, she saw the untouched plate of food still there. She picked it up and she took it downstairs and made out like it was no big deal. She wasn't fooling me. I could tell that she was biting on her gum to stop the tears. When I was little, I idolized my feisty, beautiful older sister. I loved how she wore clashing colors, the cool ways in which she styled her hair, and her carefree nature. The problem was that she didn't seem to like me. All she ever did was call me a brat, slam her bedroom door in my face, and tell me to stay away from her. 7 years on, and I thought things would be different. She wasn't a teenager anymore. She was an adult. But nope. It seemed clear that Taylor hated me, even more than ever. I don't know why. Didn't she view me as a proper sister because we had different dads? You see, my dad isn't her dad, as her dad left when she was a little girl. Then Mom met my dad and had me. I don't know. I just couldn't figure out why she still disliked me so much. As the weeks went on, Taylor didn't seem to settle in at all. Instead, her behavior worsened. She played loud music until the early hours of the morning. She covered the house in her clothes, plates, cups, etc. She was the messiest person ever, and never cleaned up after herself. One time, I came downstairs to see her sitting at the dinner table, munching on the sandwiches I'd made for school. Then, when I politely told her this, she snorted and said, "They're gross anyway, so I'm doing you a favor." Then she took Mom's car without asking her, and that meant she had to get the bus to work and ended up late. When Mom talked to her about it, Taylor just smirked, threw the keys at her, said, "You're out of gas," then walked off. Mom tried to keep calm and distracted herself by tidying up. So I tried hugging her, but she shrugged me off and told me to go away. It felt like Taylor could get away with everything, while I was the one getting snapped at for nothing. Still, Taylor must have been through a lot, right? Maybe she just needed some time to reconnect with Mom again. Then peace would be restored to our household. Just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, they did. I was reading in the living room when I heard voices coming from outside. I went to check it out and saw Mom and Dad talking to our new neighbor. They sure looked friendly. Then Taylor appeared and grinning said, "Making friends with the neighbor, are you, Mom?" Mom flustered out, "Taylor, this is Bill, my old classmate and our new neighbor. Isn't it a small world?" "So, you're Mom's age?" "Whoa, you don't look like it." "Hang on, didn't you say you had a crush on some Bill?" "I see why. It's just a shame you rushed into remarrying, isn't it?" Mom and Bill gave awkward looks, while Dad was gritting his teeth. Uh-oh, he didn't look happy. "Lovely to see you, Bill," Mom muttered out before she pulled Dad and Taylor inside. Behind closed doors, she frowned at Taylor, but she just shrugged and left. This must have been playing on Dad's mind, as that evening I overheard him question Mom.
"Why did you never mention this Bill before?"
"Honey, it was just a slight crush when I was a teenager. You know how it is."
"Yeah, sure."
Dad scratched his head. Now I was stuck in the middle of all this tension, and it was all down to Taylor stirring the pot again. Then a couple of days later, Dad came home from work and immediately started freaking out.
"The bank called. Apparently I spent an obscene amount of money in a watch store. Was it you?"
Mom shook her head. I didn't know anything either. Then Taylor piped in. "Speaking of buying stuff, we do need to get something for Bill's birthday. I mean, he did invite all of us, so it'd be rude not to." Uh-oh. I know Mom hadn't got round to telling Dad that Bill had invited the whole family to his party yet. Dad gave Mom a skeptical look and snarled,
"Oh, I see. You used my money to buy your high school sweetheart an expensive watch? Listen to yourself! You're being ridiculous! I'm not going to stand around and listen to you accuse me like this! Then Mom stormed off. I really wanted to tell them how this morning I'd seen Taylor lingering in their room, looking suspicious. But how could I bring this up when the atmosphere was so intense? I decided I needed to confront the source of the problem, Taylor. When it was just the two of us, I said to her, "I know it was you. I saw you snooping around Mom's stuff." She just shrugged and replied, "Little Anne, seems you're smarter than you look." "Yeah, I did it. So what?" "Why are you being so cruel? Mom and Dad might split up because of you." To my shock, she grinned and she said, "Well, that is my plan. Why should you get to play happy families when I'm stuck here without my dad?" What? How could she be so selfish? I couldn't hold back my frustration anymore. How can you do this to Mom? I won't let you get away with this. Is that so? And what exactly is a quiet mouse like you gonna do about it? Then she shoved past me and walked off. I know I needed to tell Mom, but this meant breaking her heart. I was going to do it. I just needed to find a gentle way of telling her that her beloved daughter got a buzz out of ruining her life. But then, before I had a chance to figure this out, something terrible happened. The next day, I arrived home from school to find Mom and Dad in the kitchen. Dad had his arms folded and a stern look on his face, and Mom was in tears as she sadly peered down at some papers on the table in front of her. Divorce forms. What happened? Anne, you have to believe me. I didn't cheat on your father. Then Dad interrupted her. Stop lying. I can see it with my own eyes. Then he slammed a stack of photos onto the table. In the photos, Mom was kissing Bill in a cafe. Huh? This didn't make any sense. I don't understand. I didn't meet Bill yesterday. I met my friend Sandra. But Dad just got even more furious. Then he pulled his suitcase towards the door. Stop lying. I can see what happened clear as day. I can't trust you anymore. Then he left. Mom cried harder after that. I didn't know what to say or react. I wanted to believe Mom, but those photos told me differently. Suddenly, the door opened and Taylor strolled in, looked at Mom crying her heart out, and gave a delighted smirk, then went upstairs. That's right, Taylor! She must have something to do with this. So I kept an eye on her. As I passed her room, I heard her on the phone. And without a second thought, I went to find Mom and dragged her upstairs. Anyway, I owe you this time, dude. Yeah, those photos did the job. Yeah, thanks. Your Photoshop skills are brilliant. They look so real. My mom froze. A second later, she pushed the door open. Then Mom looked at Taylor and mouthed the word, "Why?" Taylor burst out laughing, shrugged, then replied, "It's payback for loving her." She pointed at me. "More than you love me. I want you all to suffer for living happily together. Why does she have you both, while I have nothing?" Furious, Mom slapped Taylor across the face and shouted out, "I'm ashamed of you, and I want you to leave right now." Taylor clutched her face and snarled back, "With pleasure. I hate it here anyway." Then she stormed out of the room, slamming the door behind her. I hugged Mom, and we both started crying. My happy family had been destroyed, and all because my sister was jealous and thought Mom loved me more. It was all so crazy. Then, later that evening, Mom received a call. From the hospital. Mom's face dropped when she told me that Taylor had been in a car crash. We rushed to the hospital, and the doctor told us Taylor needed emergency surgery. But as she'd lost lots of blood, she needed a blood donation. The problem is that she had a rare blood type, but luckily, Mom had the same. So without any hesitation, Mom told the doctor to take as much blood as Taylor needed just to save her. After the blood donation, Mom didn't recover as fast as expected. Instead, she turned weak and needed medical care. So now, Taylor was in the surgery room, and Mom was in the intensive care unit. This was terrifying. What if I lost them both? I called Dad and spilled out everything that had happened to him, and he immediately rushed to the hospital. The wait was agonizing, but when the doctor came and told me they were both going to be okay, and I could go and see Taylor, I cried with happiness. Seeing her lying there bruised and afraid, I saw a vulnerable side to her that I hadn't seen before. So I took her hand and told her what Mom did for her.
She looked embarrassed and turned away from me and muttered out how sorry she was for everything. After that, I visited them both every day. Dad came to the hospital too to check they were okay, but he waited outside of Mom's room as he knew she was still mad at him. Finally, Mom came home. Then a week later, Taylor was also discharged. We went to pick her up, and even though Mom and her didn't talk, I could feel the warmth between them. That night, we were having a cozy dinner. Taylor coughed to clear her voice, then said, "Guys, I want to say something. I know I've been a total brat, and I'm sorry. Mom, I thought you didn't love me because I was a reminder of your previous life, and I was ruining your new, happy family vibes. But now I realize how sacred the mother-daughter bond is. You never left me out. I left myself out. And Anne, I'm sorry I haven't been the big sis I should have been for you. I was jealous of you, but I was wrong to be that way. I hope you can both forgive me." Dad also apologized to Mom for misunderstanding her. We were all blubbering, and then we all hugged each other. We didn't need to say anything. Our actions were enough. We were family, and we loved each other. Families aren't always straightforward, but family is family, through the good times and the bad. And they're always worth fighting for, regardless of how out of this world annoying they can be at times. Trust me, I know all about it.
Wow, this cake tastes like heaven. I reached out to grab another piece when I heard a growl behind me. I told you to be graceful, didn't I? Then Mom pulled me over to greet this smartly dressed couple. Ugh, again. They looked me up and down, then said, "I heard that you're a gifted pianist. We would love to hear you play." Huh? Piano? I'd never played it before in my life. Before I could say a word, Mom chimed in. "Unfortunately, Phoebe's just sprained her wrist. Maybe next time." I looked at her confused. Why would she lie like that? Jeez. "Mom, why did you say that I could play the piano?" "Ah, yes. I may have bragged to them that all of my adopted children are excellent." What can I say? All moms boasted about their kids, right? And yep, I'd grown up in an orphanage before Mom welcomed me into her family. This place is pretty grand, huh? I found it overwhelming at first, and ended up getting lost trying to find my room. Luckily, there are plenty of my adoptive sisters around to show me where to go. I do have 10 of them. Yep, you heard me right. 10. It was as if I had just moved from one orphanage to another, only no more orphaned. And we're all similar ages, which is unusual, as foster parents often prefer younger kids. They said us teenagers are rather stubborn. Not to mention how my adoptive dad is never around. Seriously, I couldn't even tell you what he looks like. So it's just us girls here. I got on best with Collins. She's a couple of years older than me, and we share the same bedroom. As much as I liked living with Mom and my sisters, Mom did make us all do strange things, such as wear cheesy clothes and walk in a straight line. Worse still, she forced me to learn the piano. Ugh, I was not at all musical. I just made a right in. She also taught me how to eat properly, but it did kind of feel like a dog training session. I was only allowed to eat when she showed a signal, and by the time I could catch up with how to use the silverwares, the meal was already finished. Ugh. But I suppose that's how every mom teaches her daughter, right? And apparently, Mom didn't have the patience to coach me anymore, so she handed me over to Collins, her star daughter. We spent an hour every day talking together, or rather, she gave me pointers on how to talk correctly. Collins said I needed to control my volume because I had a tendency to shout my words, and it wasn't very ladylike. I had to whisper at the same volume as her, and also choose my words carefully to show intelligence and grace. Ugh, maybe it'd be easier if I just didn't say anything at all from now on. Aside from Collins, I didn't have a chance to get to know my other sisters, as Mom made each of us pursue a different aptitude. Then we had to perform for her on our monthly assessment. Mom's overall very gentle and caring, but too strict when it comes to training. So we all have to spend a lot of time and effort in practice. One day I was trying to make sense of the music sheet when I heard Lexi complain, "Ugh, why does Mom force me on this mission impossible? So boring." What? At least ice skating is 1,000 times more fun than the piano. If only. An idea popped into my head. That night, I went to my mom and timidly said, "Mom, I want to switch from piano lessons to ice skating. I can exchange with Lexi. What? No. But why? Lexi doesn't even like ice skating. Well, it's because I can see potential in each one of you, so it's impossible to switch." Frustrated, I went back to my room and began whining to Collins, but she thought that it wasn't a big deal. Mom knows what's best for us. Well, that I'm not too sure about, yet we didn't even get to go to school. As Mom said, her homeschooling was enough. While I only found her method rather strange, I've dreamed of this perfect life with an amazing mom, but Mom was never very affectionate. It didn't matter how much we studied or tried to perfect our chosen hobby. She never cuddled or praised us, not even Collins, who's the smartest girl here. I was desperate to impress Mom, so one time I spent ages making this Portuguese appetizer for her, but all she did was take one bite and say it was okay. I asked her if she didn't like me, but she just replied in a growl tone that she was helping us to have a high position in society and a bright life. But I don't need those things. I just wanted her to like me. This place is so stuffy, and the only time that I can actually breathe is when I'm on my Friday morning bread buying errand. Ugh. Then suddenly someone patted me on my shoulder, which startled me so much I dropped my stuff. Hey, it's really you. But is something wrong with you? Why the strange walk? The only thing I'm good at is buying bread, but now you've ruined it. See? Jet stooped down to pick it up for me. He was still as rude as ever, but I still found myself jealous of this free spirit off him. We used to be a perfect match at our orphanage, and quite embarrassing to admit, but I was very naughty back then, and often shoplifted with him. You could go steal some more. Remember our tricks? I have to tell you 3 things. Firstly, I've been adopted. Secondly, my adoptive family is wealthy. And finally, I'm being educated to be a noble lady, so no more stealing. That's ridiculous. I also have 3 things for you. I've been adopted too. My parents love me so much. Oh, and they're cops. We looked at each other and burst out laughing. So we were both caught, weren't we? Jet and I sat down on a nearby bench to catch up, and when I poured my heart out about my new family, he interrupted me. Sounds strange to me. Why would they only adopt teenage girls? And what are those training lessons and monthly evaluations for? Then, Jet insisted that he would investigate my adoptive family. That's silly. But anyway, it's fun to reunite with a friend, and we agreed to hang out every Friday after that. And here comes my first assessment. Of course, I couldn't even play a simple melody, so I had to study for 3 more hours every day. My sisters suffered even more. Kinsley was forced to abstain from food because she weighed 2 kilograms more than the standard. In contrast, Willow had to eat continuously at night in order to gain 5 kilograms. If it's to this extent, then it must have not been simply for the sake of the casual boasting of a mom, right? On the next Red Friday, I told Jet about last week's assessment. He firmly stated that there was a problem with my family. I don't think so, Jet. Mom just wants the best for us. Listen, Phoebe, I think she trained you guys on purpose. Each of you has to be good at a certain subject, just like the shopping orders. Orders? Don't go too far. You know Kobe beef? Cows are made to listen to music, given beer to drink, and massaged, but in the end, you know what the outcome is. Oh no, is that what this is? Mom always said that she would give us the best life as long as we worked hard. Were we being tested and stamped like those cows? One day, I came home to Collins excitedly packing her suitcase. Mom said she's taking me to a new school tomorrow. So Collins was leaving? But where? I'll miss you, sis. Text me when you get there. But days passed without a word from her. I asked Mom, and she said that Collins' hard work paid off, and she'd been accepted into a prestigious school, but they had a strict no phones rule. Huh, that sounded sus. So I told Jet, and he insisted I report the case. Another Friday, Jet and I met at a church near the bakery. Huh, why did he choose this boring place? I was looking around when I saw a group of schoolgirls coming out of the church. They all wore the same dull uniform, had their hair neatly tied back in a bun, and all obediently lined up. Then there I saw her. Collins? I was about to rush over to greet her, but the glare of the woman accompanying her scared me off. This was not right. I'd got to ask Collins what was going on. So I grabbed Jet's arm and went after the group. But they got into a black car and sped away. Maybe they chose this church as a place for their transactions. Smart, huh? They put everyone in school uniforms so no one would suspect them. But seeing those faces, I'm sure they're about to be sent to the black market soon. Black market? The thought alone made me shudder. I had to save Collins. I couldn't let Mom get away with this. That night, I tiptoed downstairs to eavesdrop. Okay, I'll deliver her this weekend. Correct. She's 5'7". She can ice skate, cooking, and painting? Of course. I have her trained as required. You won't be disappointed. So the deal goes as planned, okay? See you on Sunday. That's it. The next delivery was Lexi. I checked her room and saw her packing her stuff, a beam of innocent happiness on her face. I quickly texted Jet, and he immediately replied, "Just wait at home calmly. Don't act without thinking. I'll figure something out." That night, I couldn't sleep a wink. I was so terrified something terrible would happen to Lexi. So early the next morning, as soon as I saw Mom and Lexi getting in the car to leave, I snuck into the trunk, lay there without making any sound, and sent Jet the location. The car took a long time to stop. Had we finally arrived at the transaction location? When it seemed safe, I carefully climbed out and saw Mom talking to a fastidious-looking middle-aged woman. What did Mom say that made Lexi so panicked that she kept clutching Mom's hand? The woman handed Mom a rather thick envelope, then grabbed Lexi's hand and dragged her away. God, where was Jet? I couldn't just sit still like this and watch my sister being taken away. Let Lexi go! Now! Phoebe, what are you doing? Stop it. You're going to sell us, aren't you? I already know the truth. What on earth are you talking about, Phoebe? Furious, Mom pulled me away. Stop. Suddenly, 2 cops rushed in, ordering everyone to put their hands up. Behind them was Jet, still panting. Turns out they were Jet's adoptive parents. Help me! Mom's trying to sell me and my sister. Seeing that, the other woman quickly explained, No, there must be a misunderstanding here. I'm just helping Gianna's daughter to enroll at my school. Bewildered, my eyes darted from Mom to the other woman and then to Jet. In the principal's office, I told everyone why I thought my mom was a human trafficker. They all gasped in surprise. I made you practice that hard just because I want you to get in here, the most prestigious all-girls school, so that you can have a better life. I don't want to go to this school anymore, Mom. She told me all about the harsh rules. This place is terrifying. You can't force your kids to do that. You adopted them, so you have to make them feel safe and loved. Miss Gianna, this is a prestigious school, and it doesn't need your scandal. You led me to believe that your daughters were naturally gifted, which now transpires is all lies. I won't accept any child from your family from now on. No, they're my children. They deserve the best. Then she begged the principal to withdraw her decision, but she firmly shook her head. Suddenly, Mom shouted, Why? I just want them not to suffer like me, so what's wrong with that? Then Mom burst into tears. It turns out that in the past, Mom was in love with a politician. But he decided it would further his career if he chose to marry a graduate from this prestigious school instead. Mom loved him so much, she continued to be his mistress. But despite being fully provided for by him, Mom always felt that she was inferior to his official wife, especially when he proudly boasted about his smart wife and talented daughters. Then, when she wanted to start her own family, he wouldn't allow it. In the end, she decided to adopt girls and train them to become excellent so that they could enter this school regardless of their background. So that's the reason why she did this to us. I have to admit, I did feel a bit sorry for her. All of this was probably just to ease the pain of her past. But Mom, we don't want to go to this snooty school. We just want you to love us and protect us. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I was only trying to help. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. And she hugged me. So, in the end, my sisters and I finally have a truly happy family. Mom doesn't make us do any dumb tasks anymore. Instead, she lets us pursue our own dreams and passions. Now we all go to a public school and live out our normal teen lives. It's wonderful finally having an amazing mom, incredible sisters, and my pretty awesome best friend, Jet, all by my side.
It was the middle of the night, when flickering lights and clattering sounds awoke me from the most wonderful dream. Through bleary eyes, I saw my frantic parents peering over me. Sweetie, you have to leave England right now. We've received a death threat. Death threat? What happened?
Hurry up and pack your things. We don't have much time.
But where am I going? And what about you guys?
To the US. For now, Elise, you go by the name Chloe Stewarts. Remember, if anyone asks, you don't have anything to do with this family.
At least arrange a comfy place for her, will you? Sweetie, I know this is hard, but we'll get you back as soon as this is sorted out, okay? Seeing Mum and Dad this worried, I tried to keep calm. I told them I'd be fine, and quickly left for the flight. I felt so unsettled about all of this. What would America hold for me? So here I am at Phillips Academy, and I'll be staying in that room. Hopefully, I'll be safe here for the time being. I couldn't stop thinking about what Mum and Dad had said. Who'd want to harm us? Dad owns one of the largest real estate firms in the UK, but he's a fair man who, as far as I'm aware, didn't have any enemies. This is all so crazy. I needed some fresh air, but there was a white shadow dangling outside that reads, Get out! Suddenly, a strong wind blew, making me step back and trip over a skull! Why is this here? Then the whole room echoed with this horror movie-like sound. My head was spinning when I spotted something. Ha! These tricks can't scare Elise the Fearless. I was about to destroy this thing when... Hey, stop! Who are you? Who are you? This is my bedroom. What are you doing in here? This room is not just for anyone. Who are your parents? I was still trying to steer away from his suspecting gaze when someone knocked on the door. It was a girl named Rita, sent by the school to help me out. She went on and on about the school regulations and boarding rules, but all I could think about was that boy. Any questions? Oh, not quite. I mean, the security here might be a little questionable. Aren't there any safety measures for the balconies? Actually, this is the only room here with a balcony, and it's quite eerie at times. Be careful. Anyway, here's your schedule for this term. Welcome to Phillips. Eerie. It was definitely a little weird. Is it because of that boy? Is he trying to scare people out of this room? According to the schedule Rita gave me, I have my first football practice today. But why are they all dressed funny? Everyone looked at me as if I was an alien and laughed their butts off.
Here we call that soccer and this football. Ever played it before?
Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm in the States now and they have different names for loads of stuff. How embarrassing.
Don't sweat it. It's actually kind of cute of you. So, what's your full name? We may know your family.
Chloe Stewarts, from England. Everyone then shrugged cluelessly. What a relief. I'm just a nobody to everyone now. However, Rita wouldn't let me blend in. She insisted my clothes were too sloppy for a Phillips student and dragged me to the mall. I like her, but sometimes she's so enthusiastic, if not a little too much.
Elise? Elise Stone? What are you doing here? Has your family moved to America?
Oh no, it's the worst timing to bump into some family friend. I frantically looked around to see if anyone heard her, but...
Elise Stone, huh?
It's impossible to escape her questioning, so I told her everything and asked her to keep it a secret. Don't worry, I'm not going to tell a single soul. I've got your back, Chloe. Suddenly, the whole mall was flocking to the entrance. Our Golden Boys, the top player of the varsity football team. Golden Boys? Is this some sort of K-drama or something? Oh, that's the guy from my balcony. On the way back to my room, I kept wondering what that Golden Boy was doing on my balcony. When I found myself in a haunted house. What's that? Oh, this buddy was from today's biology class. As I carried the skeleton to the corner, I got caught in some toy spiders. Jeez. Suddenly, there was a streak of light from the balcony. Oh right, I forgot to close the door today. So this annoying intruder sneaked in. Again.
Hey, soccer girl. Impressed.
Why are you trying to scare me out? What do you want?
Well, I'm right next door, and this balcony's always been mine. But since you moved in, I've lost the spot to chill.
That's it? I mean, I'm staying here for just the time being, and I don't really need a balcony. Plus, the less trouble, the better. If you want it that bad, then you can have it. But only the balcony. Please don't ever come into my room without my permission again.
Sure thing. But since it's mine now, you can't just walk into my space either.
Deal. That's settled then. This door is now officially the border between us. The next morning, I was carrying the skeleton back to the equipment room. Someone bumped into me and accidentally sent the box flying. Oh no, what a mess.
Watch where you're going, you and your stupid thing.
You were the one running around. Maybe slow down when you're in the hallway wouldn't be a bad idea.
Are you talking back to me? You?
Hey guys, chill. Right then, the girl pushed Rita to the side, but someone caught her just in time.
Grace, why are you picking on the new girl? And you too, Aaron. Come on, man.
I don't care. She better apologize to my boyfriend.
Drop it, Grace. Are you okay? I know moving to a new country can be hard, so if you need anything, let me know.
I was still flustered by his overly friendliness when Rita dragged me away. You know Jeffrey? No, I literally just met him. Oh, sorry. Jeffrey is actually my boyfriend, but we've not gone public yet. Oh, that explains things. I told Rita to rest assured, as I'm not interested in him. I also found out that he's the head boy. No wonder why he knew everything about everyone, including a newbie like me. But as long as I go by Chloe Stewart's, it shouldn't matter, right? But apparently what matters to Grace, the mean girl, is another story. After that incident, she wouldn't stop playing dirty tricks on me. Oopsie, I'm such a klutz sometimes. Another time, I noticed other students giggling at me in the hallway. I didn't know what was going on until Rita took off a piece of paper and stuck to my back. This was such a Grace thing to do. Ugh, can she stop acting like a 9-year-old? But nope. As I was going to class, she threw a snake at me, startling me so much I almost fell over. But thankfully, a hand came just in time to catch me. Jaden!
Everyone listen up. Chloe is my girl. From now on, if anything happens to her, I'll be on you, Grace.
My girl? Since when? Couldn't wrap my head around it, so I decided to ask him that night. Earlier today. Why'd you say that?
Think of it as a thank you for letting me have the balcony. It actually means a lot to me right now.
Well, okay then, but I wonder what's so important to him out there. Never mind, we had a deal. I'd better just mind my own business. But who would have thought Jaden's statement would bring me so much trouble? I suddenly became the center of attention, especially with those Golden Boys surrounding me 24/7. I was going to excuse myself when I heard the girls going primal over Jaden.
Of course someone with a goldfish brain like you would forget to eat.
Excuse me? I was just trying to finish this book before lunch. Who asked him to bring me food anyway? Great, now these girls had another reason not to like me. The Golden Boys started to act strangely, and Grace as well. This mean girl now watched over me like a hawk, while her boyfriend Aaron also acted up. Not to mention, Jeffrey always tried to be close to me, which put me in such a dilemma as I didn't want Rita to get the wrong idea about us. Then there was Jaden, who wouldn't quit acting like my bodyguard. I was enjoying myself at school festival when he suddenly appeared and dragged me out of there. This is getting too much. I'm not scared of some childish tricks from Grace, and I can take care of myself.
This isn't about Grace. A couple of times I've noticed someone watching you from a distance, and even following you around. I don't think it's safe for you to be in a crowd like that.
Was I being stalked this whole time? Is it the same person who gave my family the threat? Did they find out I'm here? Who knows what could have happened if Jaden wasn't looking out for me all this time? That night, as if to confirm Jaden's worry, Dad called me saying they'd received another threat, pinpointing my exact location. Dad sounded extremely anxious and kept telling me to be careful. As I was trembling with fear, somebody suddenly banged on my door. Freak out, I broke the deal with Jaden and ran straight onto the balcony.
You okay? What's going on?
Someone's knocking on the door.
There's no one there. Are you really that scared?
I suddenly realized what I was doing. Oh gosh, this is so embarrassing. But is he blushing too? I quickly looked to the side, surprised to see all the gear. What's all this? Are you trying to make bombs or something?
No, actually. This is to attract the fireflies.
Fireflies?
Yeah, they've always fascinated me. I needed your balcony for my project. See that right there? It's their playground. Plus, it's really airy out here.
Then he leaned over to switch some knobs on the machine, and suddenly there was a swarm of fireflies lighting up the whole place, creating a beautiful fairy tale-like scenery. His secret about my balcony had finally come to light. Literally.
I don't know what your secret is, but you need to stop being afraid. I'll find out who's behind this.
His determination touched my heart, but I still can't help worrying about the mysterious door knocks. Who could it be? Since then, I stuck by Jaden. We were like SpongeBob and Patrick everywhere we went. Despite all the death stares I got from the girls, I finally understood why they were going crazy over him. He might seem a little kooky at first, but he's actually so caring and unique. Before the end of the term, the school organized this camping trip for us. I tried to make sure Jaden was always in sight for my own safety. It wasn't an easy hike, as more and more people dropped out, except for Jaden, who didn't seem at all exhausted. Is he made of steel or something? I tried to keep up with him and occasionally stopped to catch my breath. But where'd he go? Panicked, I looked around for him, but all I saw were mountains and cold winds blowing at me. Suddenly, I felt a heavy stare on me, but no one was there. I quickly ran and called for Jaden, but someone grabbed me from behind. It was Jeffrey. Without a word, he just dragged me away. Well, what are you doing? Where are you taking me?
Sorry, but I gotta do this. I've been waiting so long for this moment. You should ask why fate landed you right in the hand of your enemy.
Enemy? What do you mean? Are you the one behind the threat?
My parents were, yeah. But now I'm in it too. Blame your dad and his stupid resident project that took away our land. The land that was supposed to be my family's mining area. And now we're going bankrupt, all thanks to you. And you know what? The news reached Rita's dad, and he's forcing us to break up.
But this is our parents' business, and I have nothing to do with it. Why are you taking it out on me?
Well, maybe if their precious daughter is in danger, they'll do something about it.
In danger? What is he gonna do? Right at that moment, someone appeared and freed me from Jeffrey's grip.
Sorry for leaving you alone, but I needed to know who was behind this. You stay out of this. This is none of your business. You need to calm down. Don't get yourself in trouble because of your parents' mistakes. Jeff, you've worked so hard to become head boy. Are you just gonna throw everything away?
Jaden's words seemed to touch him, as we saw Jeffrey fall to his knees.
I'll talk to my dad. I'm sure he could help you guys out with the business. Our families have always been close, and we've got you, Jeff.
Seeing Jeffrey break down, I felt bad for him. What he did was awful, but his parents never should have put him in this unfair position. That evening, Jeffrey seemed deep in thought, when he suddenly dragged Rita out for a private talk, leaving everyone confused. Grace and Aaron then also left. I took a deep breath and filled my lungs with fresh air, when suddenly all the fireflies appeared in the sky, followed by Jaden.
I know this is your call, but if you're willing to stay here instead of going back to England, I promise to take care of you.
I looked at Jaden, beaming against the beautiful skyline, and I couldn't help but feel my heart beat a little faster. He was so sweet and caring, but why was he doing this? Did he have feelings for me too? Right then, Rita and Jeffrey came back. Jeffrey apologized for scaring me, while Rita also said sorry for not keeping my identity a secret. What's done is done. Let's just enjoy this gorgeous sight in front of us. The next day, as we returned from our camping trip, we all arrived at the hall for a school notice. But when I arrived, it was just my homeroom teacher and classmates there.
We just heard from the principal you're going back to England, so we organized a small party for you. I hope you had a good time at Phillips.
Everyone also wished me luck on my journey, but Jaden didn't even bother to say goodbye. Suddenly, all the lights went out, followed by the candles, and Jaden.
I respect your decision to leave, but I just want to let you know, I really like you, and no matter where you go, I'll be thinking about you.
Actually, Jaden, I'm staying here. I already told my dad, but...
That's all I want to hear, Elise Stone.
Good night, good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night till it be Rio de Janeiro. The whole audience burst into laughter. What did I just say? Panicked, I checked the script again. Huh? It did say Rio de Janeiro. Ugh, I know she's behind it. Lisa. She must have messed with my script. You're probs wondering why I didn't run down to the stands and give her a taste of my shoe? Well, it's complicated. You see, Lisa and I used to be best friends. When I was 7, my family moved to this town, and Lisa was my neighbor. Back then, Lisa always seemed lonely, as she didn't have any siblings. Her mom was busy with work, and her dad was away on business. So I often came over to hang out with her, and eventually we became the best of friends. We had so many things in common. Oh, and even her dad was a cop, just like my dad. Lisa never mentioned him, but I know she missed him. But then our 10 years of friendship was recently ruined, just because of some boy. You see, Lisa liked this guy called Brent at school. So being the great friend I am, I tried to help. But Lisa found out that he'd been messaging me and thought that I was flirting with him behind her back. I tried to explain many times, but she refused to listen. So now, I became her reluctant enemy. Her sneaky tricks became commonplace. And on this occasion, she won, as she got the role of Juliet, while I was just a boring maid. On the day of the play, after finishing the final rehearsal, Lisa suddenly walked up to me and smiled. Sorry about the audition. I've been thinking about it a lot and realized how childish I was. Then Lisa handed me a bottle of my favorite juice to make up. Okay, that's strange. Does she have 2 completely different personalities inside her or something? Or did she realize how great of a friend I am not to resent her petty tricks? Anyways, seeing as it was her birthday and all, I happily took the bottle of juice and wished her good luck. However, 15 minutes before the performance, I had the worst cramping pains in my stomach. I sprinted at rocket speed to the bathroom, and by the time I got out of there, the show was pretty much over. And guess what? I hadn't had anything that day, except for the juice Lisa gave me. Unbelievable! She did it to me again! I then rushed into the lounge of the drama club and rummaged through Lisa's bag. Bingo! Inside was a bottle of laxatives. She put it in my drink so I couldn't participate in the show. Ex-best friend or whatever, there's no way I'm gonna let her get away with it this time. Then suddenly, I found a vintage pocket watch sticking out from the innermost compartment of her bag. I held it in my hand and saw that the number 1999 was engraved on it. Why did it look so familiar? Don't touch my father's belongings! A voice sounded from behind me, and the next thing I knew, Lisa snatched the pocket watch from my hand. Why was she angry? I mean, I was the one who got done over, not her. And also, what did she mean by her father? I was still thinking about it when I arrived home, and suddenly saw someone sneaking around outside Lisa's house. Isn't that Dad? My dad looked around and then placed a beautifully wrapped gift in front of her door. It must be Lisa's birthday present, but why didn't he just hand it to her directly? When my dad came back inside, I quickly rushed over to him and asked, "Hey Dad, do you remember the pocket watch that you love so much? I haven't seen it for a while. Where did you put it?" Dad seemed to be flustered by my question. Then he muttered that he'd sold the watch to a pawn shop. I just nodded, but I knew he was lying, as he treasured that watch too much to ever sell it. Why did he give it to Lisa, then lie to me? Could it be that Lisa is my dad's illegitimate daughter? And the fact that my dad insisted on moving here, was it just so he could be close to his mistress and his child? Ugh! Lisa had stolen my role, and now she wanted to take my dad away from me too. I'd had enough. It's time for me to give her a taste of her own medicine. The next day at school, I made sure Lisa was watching as I flirted with Brent, then linked arms with him. She looked like she was going to explode with anger. Then I told everybody in class that Lisa's father wasn't away on business and that she only said this as he had another family and abandoned her when she was little. The rumors must have gotten back to Lisa, as the next thing I knew, she was confronting me as I walked out of the toilet cubicle. "How dare you say that stuff about my dad? You're a horrible liar!" Then we ended up in a nasty hair-tugging fight. It was so bad, a teacher had to come in and pull us apart. Then the principal called our parents. Luckily for us, my dad and Lisa's mom decided not to make this a big deal because of our close neighborly relations. Yeah, as if. However, my dad still made me apologize to Lisa and her mom. Ugh. Dad, why do I have to apologize? It's not like she apologized to me for putting laxatives in my drink.
You were wrong to spread those untrue rumors about her. But what were the laxatives about? I thought you two were friends. Since when did you guys become this resentful towards each other?
I wasn't lying. They're the truth. Are you defending Lisa over me just because you feel guilty that she's your secret daughter?
Kirsty, what did you say?
I explained how I knew about the watch and therefore I'd figured out his secret. He was silent for a long time, then sighed and said,
"Actually, Lisa's dad was a colleague of mine. He was a good man who worked hard at his job. We had this difficult case involving a notorious criminal gang and, unfortunately, her dad passed away while on duty. In his last moments, he gave me his pocket watch as a memento and asked me to look after his 4-year-old daughter, Lisa. Her mom and I couldn't break the heart of that little girl, so we said her father was away from home on business and would return when she'd be 18 years old. As for me, I would pretend to be her father to occasionally send gifts and letters to her. When you and Lisa were 7, I decided to move here in order to easily take care of her. And as you know, I gave her that pocket watch, her father's last memento."
"But why did you lie to her like that?"
Lisa was too young at that time to accept such an ugly truth. Her mom and I didn't have much choice either. I was expecting her to get used to it and stop waiting for her dad, but it's true that we didn't expect things to be like this. On her last birthday, I continued to play the role of her father and left a present at the door with an apology for not being able to come home due to a busy schedule. But we know we can't keep this from her anymore. It's heartbreaking to see her longing for her dad so persistently.
So, it turned out that all my speculations were wrong. Not only that, but I also spread false rumors and hurt my friend. Oh God, what had I done? How could I put this right? That night, I sent Lisa a long text apologizing, but she didn't reply. So the next morning, I waited at her door to go to school together, but she just walked straight past me. Looking at her distraught face, my heart filled with remorse. I just entered the school gate when someone tapped me on the shoulder.
"Want to go see a play with me tonight?"
Brent held out 2 theater tickets. Oh, it was for the curious incident of the dog in the nighttime. I was desperate to see that. Back when Lisa and I were still friends, we talked about going to see it. Wait, Lisa. That's right. So I lied to Brent that I was busy and told him to ask Lisa to go with him instead. Lisa looked so thrilled that Brent had asked her out. Now my conscience was clear. Lisa and Brent would realize they liked each other and finally get together properly. Then she'd forgive me, right? Anyway, I did have an essay coming up, so I went to a quiet coffee shop and studied there till late. But when I got home, I walked through the door to smashed up ornaments and the sound of my parents arguing. So you've been lying to me and Kirsty for all these years? How could you have a secret child the same age as your daughter? Aren't you ashamed of yourself? What's going on? Did she know about Lisa? I quickly ran to stop her. Mom, it's not what you think. I thought so too at first. But you have to listen to Dad. Those lies may fool you, but they can't fool me. Lisa is his illegitimate daughter. That poor girl came here and told me. I tried reasoning with Mom, but she was too upset to listen. With a slam of the door, she left. Dad plopped down on the couch and gave a solemn sigh. I sat next to him, comforting him that maybe it was Lisa's misunderstanding. Dad, we have to tell Lisa the truth. I'll approach her first to test the water, and then when she seems to be emotionally stable, you will come and talk to her, okay? The next day, as soon as I arrived at school, I immediately went to look for Lisa. There she was, standing by her locker with her arms folded. I walked over to her, but before I could say anything, she shouted, "Stop acting as if you're that noble! I know Brent only invited me to the theater because you told him to. Why do you wish to embarrass me so much?" Then Lisa burst into tears. "If my dad was still alive, he would protect me from mean girls like you." I gaped at Lisa. She already knew everything? But if so, why did she tell my mom the day before that my dad was also her dad? I stood there, refused to move until she told me the truth. Eventually, she blurted out that on her 18th birthday, she saw my dad leaving a gift in front of her house. Suspecting something was up, she mustered up the courage to ask her mom everything. It devastated her to learn that her long-awaited dad was just totally a made-up lie by my dad. She was full of rage towards my dad and me, so she lied to my mom so we'd know what it felt like to have a broken family. I was furious. How dare she do this to my family? But as she sobbed out an apology, my anger faded right away, and I only felt so sorry for her instead. What she had gone through was really unbearable. I hugged her tightly and the pair of us cried our eyes out. When we both calmed down, we decided to have a frank talk with our families. I told Lisa I didn't mind sharing my dad with her, as he loves her like his own daughter anyway. But in return, Lisa needed to apologize to my mom and explain everything to her so she'd come back home. So finally, my mom has returned, and our two families are at peace again. I'm so sorry. I was out of my mind. I didn't mean to hurt you, Mom. Mrs. Lamont. Everyone burst out laughing. I also took the opportunity to give Lisa's mom a big hug and called her my mom, just like Lisa did. We were all chatting away happily when the doorbell rang. Lisa and I both went to open the door and saw Brent standing there holding a bouquet of flowers. He had this bewildered look on upon seeing us both here. But you know what? It doesn't matter which one of us he was looking for. There's no need for a boyfriend right now, because I already have my best friend right here. Or should I say, my sister?
Hey everyone, I'm Gabby. I'm 18 and I have the most amazing boyfriend called Hayden. He's kind, funny, ridiculously attractive, and he makes me happy. The problem is that although I know how great he is, a series of events happened that left my parents convinced that he was a pervert. I mean, it was not simply just an awkward situation you may be in with your significant other's parents. He somehow had really disastrous meet-the-parents moments. Hayden likes alternative music, and his staple clothing choice is usually a band tee and jeans. My parents are quite old-fashioned. My mom loves Frank Sinatra, and my dad is into his classical music. I guess they're just under the impression that people that choose to listen to loud music are all in a cult or something. Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous. The first time Hayden met my parents, I was a little worried, as I didn't want them to see his band tee and misjudge him. It was going well. Hayden had flattered my mom, complimenting her Black Forest Gâteau, and he'd made my dad's day by laughing at one of his lame jokes. Things seemed to go smoothly, and my mom and dad were like, "Okay, son, you almost have our nod of approval, so come on." But that was just until things started to be a disaster. Hayden then even offered to help my mom tidy up. It was as he was placing the plates back in one of the upper cabinets that his band tee rose up, and the tattoo he had of a lioness on his back was revealed. Right at that moment, my dad dropped all the apple cubes he was holding, and my mom, she dropped her jaw. Oh, for us, it was just a tattoo, but at that moment, I realized that for my parents, it was like a real lion tending to jump straight at them. My poor, naive Hayden had no idea about the storm behind him, and didn't know why my parents just smiled, sort of forced, and didn't say a word. After Hayden had left, we sat back in the most serious way ever and really had to talk about a lion who just came through our house and tidied things up. They were both furious that I was dating someone who had abused their body. They were convinced that he was a criminal. I tried telling them that his tattoo was in memory of his late mom, and it held a lot of significance and meaning for him. They didn't listen to me and said that I just made excuses because he made me blind. They were adamant that I wasn't to see him again. Of course, I ignored them. I wasn't going to stop talking to my amazing boyfriend just because he had a tattoo in memory of his mom. I was hoping that things would settle down and they'd see how amazing Hayden was. But one thing led to another. One day, I was listening to music in my room when my mom barged in looking flustered. Apparently, they'd driven past Hayden in town and saw him terrorize some kids. What? Hayden? Terrorize some kids? He is a volunteer at a local orphanage and he loves kids. My mom even said that she saw him push a little boy into a bush. I burst out laughing. The whole thing sounded ridiculous. I rang up Hayden. Turns out, he'd seen a group of kids push this boy into the bush. He chased them off, then helped the boy out of the bush and checked that he was okay. It was totally opposite. But my parents didn't hear me out. You know, if they saw a lion stand by a little deer, so of course the lion must be the hunter and the deer is the prey. If you think that things couldn't get any worse, then trust me, they unbelievably could. My parents banned Hayden from coming over, but we still hung out. One night on our first anniversary, we were out at a restaurant for a romantic dinner with candles and roses. Everything went great, and yes, again, until the last moment. I went to the bathroom, and after I finished using the toilet, my pants zipper got stuck. A handsome boy was waiting for me out there to enjoy a lovely night together, but here I was, walking out of the toilet with an undone zipper and a frown on my face. After hearing me mumble about it, he quickly understood what happened, took off his jacket, and tied it around my waist while trying not to laugh. He took me to an alley nearby, which was dark and empty, so that he could help me pull it up. And all of a sudden, my parents showed up. Like, out of nowhere! I can never forget that moment. I was standing deep in the dark, empty alley, my boyfriend was on one knee trying his best to pull my pants zipper up, and my parents were frozen in shock, with their group of friends pointing at an unknown, ridiculous couple. It was mortifying! My dad stormed over to us and shouted at Hayden with all the rude and dirty words he could think of. My parents were both so furious that I was dragged into their car right away. I was grounded for maybe forever, until I got some sense. They confiscated my phone, my laptop, and even my Walkman. Did they think that he could send me a message using radio waves, or what? One day, my dad barged into my room, found me almost bored to death on my bed, then told me that my mom was taken to the hospital and we needed to hurry up. We rushed over to her and found her laying on a hospital bed with a broken ankle and some scratches on her body, and a handsome boy was sitting next to her and taking care of her. He was none other than Hayden, my boyfriend, the rejected lion. My dad jumped in like, "How dare you?" And my mom stopped him like, "Don't be so rude, he saved my life." Both me and my dad had no time to understand the situation as another tattooed guy rushed in, bringing my mom's bag and said, "Oh, madam, are you okay? I caught that damn robber for you, so if your hands are not broken, please check your bag." Of course, her hands were fine. They were grabbing my dad's collar to protect my boy. At this point, everything was clear. She got mugged, and the unlucky robber stole her bag and knocked her off the street. Hayden and his tattooed friend showed up at that moment, and here we were. My parents eventually gave him an opportunity to explain himself. They finally realized that Hayden was a good person, and they're now his biggest fans. They're always inviting him round for dinner and saying nice things about him and about the lioness, too. It only took my mom being mugged for my parents to realize that my boyfriend wasn't a pervert. I'm glad that my mom wasn't seriously hurt and that Hayden found her on time. Even though I don't agree with some of my parents' views, it doesn't change the fact that I love them very much. I'm just glad that they now know how great Hayden is. Thanks for listening to my story, guys. My parents learned their lesson and realized that they should give people a chance before they jump to ludicrous assumptions about them. Please leave a comment if your parents have ever made the wrong judgment about someone too. It'll be great to know that I'm not the only one with mega embarrassing parents.
Holy baloney! Who is that? This guy was next level hot! And there's more. As I neared him, he didn't run off looking afraid. Seeing me dumbfoundedly gasping, Scarlett elbowed me. "Wake up, chicka, we're late!" She giggled as she dragged me to class. I saw it.
Never thought I'd see the day that Margot the troublemaker would go all gooey-eyed over some boy. Scarlet teased me. I blushed and was completely tongue-tied, eyes looking around awkwardly. It's a shame you're basically a walking, talking boy repellent. Yeah, right. I lowered my head to think, and when I looked up, Scarlet was texting, probably some cringe overload message to her boyfriend Keith. I rested my chin on my hands and stared out of the window as I found myself daydreaming about that cute mystery guy. What time do you call this? Are you trying to get me kicked out of this place for covering for you again? So's. I had something super important to do with Alfie. Important, huh? So I could end up in trouble for covering your butt? Because you want to pull some lame prank with that loser? Nuh-uh. How many times do I have to tell you? We only pranked him once, and that jerk totally deserved it. About that jerk, he's the captain of the basketball team, and Alfie's my friend. Okay, he might look a bit intimidating, but he's a nice guy. But that jock not only knocked Alfie out with his basketball, he also took his money out of his pocket when he was down. We weren't going to let him get away with this. So that night, we snuck out and poured greasy cooking oil all over the field, which made the whole team slip and fall again and again. It was hilarious. Unfortunately, word of our involvement reached the principal, so Scarlet had to call her dad to help me. Okay, so this wasn't exactly the first time Scarlet had saved me. She only got mad as she had to save Alfie's butt too, even though she hates him. Come on, I'm sorry. Would you mind? It's midnight and we need to sleep. Shut up, Miley. No one asked you. Fine. Go to bed and shut up so we can actually get some sleep. Oof, those girly girls. Wake up, princess. The class is over. I groggily got up and followed Scarlet like a zombie to the cafeteria. But then I came to an abrupt halt. There, standing on the corner of the hallway, was that handsome guy. What on earth is going on? I've asked Keith to do some research. Now, do you want my help or not? I still froze and couldn't say anything. OMG, I'd never felt so nervous like this before. I nodded while holding her arm. Wow. So all it took for the mighty Margot to turn into a timid wreck was some dude? Oh, and by the way, he's called Jared, and he's studying classical music. Very elegant. Huh? I blurted out. Classical music? This sucks! I mean, how's a girl like me ever gonna reach his level? Don't worry, I'll help you. Then she changed her attitude. On one condition. You know what? Scarlet demanded me to stop hanging out with Elfie, 'cause it was not good for the girly image I needed to get Jared's attention. Plus, I wouldn't be allowed to pass the dorm's curfew. If I broke these conditions, then she wouldn't help me anymore. Fine, I agree. Sorry, Elfie, you'll just have to carry on without me. Keith befriended Jared and asked him to come over to our school again to check on those pianos in the music room. When there's an oops emergency, he will leave Jared with me, who it turns out is struggling with the piano. Genius! As you can see, this plan is going well so far. Just this dress was really suffocating me. Ugh. But being around Jared seemed to suffocate me even more. Luckily, he was quite friendly, so we started talking easily, and now he's playing for me. Do you have any plans after school? No, not yet. I'm about to go to this music cafe in town. Would you like to join me? OMG! Of course I said yes! Does this count as a first date? We actually had a lot of fun. I was in seventh heaven. On our way back, I was startled when I saw Alfie across the street. Noticing me with Jared, Alfie glared at me with this maddened, wide-eyed look. I gave him the shush sign and looked away. No surprises. My phone beeped. You blew me off to hang out with that sissy boy? And what's with your clothes? Jeez, Alfie was angry for sure, but I couldn't do this right now. I'd promised Scarlet I wouldn't talk to him anymore. So I ignored the message and walked straight past him. As soon as I arrived back at the dorm, the girls cooed around and asked me about the date. They seemed so happy for me. So, when's the next date? He asked me to come over to his school tomorrow, and then we're gonna have dinner. Ah! The girls screamed in unison. Surprising, as I didn't think these grumpy girls cared this much about me. I was so excited about the date, so I arrived early at Jared's school to find him practicing with another girl. I walked into the room with a smile on my face, and Jared introduced me to her, Maeve. Then he told me to wait there and left to go to the bathroom. This Maeve girl sniggered, then looked me up and down and said, "Give it up. An unrefined girl like you doesn't deserve him." Huh? What on earth did I ever do to her? Angry, I knocked over her music sheets. She picked it up, then sternly said, "Just you wait. I won't let you get away with it." Then she shoved past me and stormed off. Then, at dinner, I couldn't help it. "So, that Maeve?" Our parents are very close, so we've been friends since we were little, and now we both study music. She seems really into you." "I'm not so sure about that. We're just friends." "So he doesn't like that Maeve girl?" "I guess. Just forget about her. I have a very important date with Jared, and I need your help." Right at that moment, a call from Alfie arrived, but Scarlett was sitting right next to me, so I couldn't pick up. After a few calls, he texted me, "You gotta help me this time. I can't do it by myself." Oh, God help me. I didn't have the heart to abandon my friend. So I decided to sneak out and go see Alfie. Okay, so it's not what you think. Those times I was late weren't because we were up to no good. We've been fixing up this abandoned house for these homeless kids instead. This time, one of those kids, Kevin, had a serious fever. I had to help Alfie borrow some money and take Kevin to the hospital. I tried to be deadly quiet as I crept into the dorm room, but I swear Scarlett is the lightest sleeper in existence. And sure enough, she was there waiting for me. "Oh, hi Margot. It's nice of you to join us." "Yeah, sorry. It was, an emergency." "You just can't help yourself, can you? You broke our agreement to go hang out with that thug friend of yours. I'm not helping you ever again." This sucked. It looked like I was on my own. This is it. My big date with Jared. His dad's the conductor here, and from what I can gather, that's a massive deal. Without Scarlett to help me find the right dress for this event was a nightmare. Oh man, everyone looked so luxurious and classy. I felt like a sore thumb. This obviously wasn't the world I belonged to. But Jared's gentle smile soothed me down a lot. But soon, Maeve was coming towards us. Ugh. "Jared, darling, congrats! I think this concert will be amazing." "Oh, it's you again. Nice dress." Ugh! She was really pulling on my leg. But stay calm. Now breathe. Breathe. Then they both talked about Mozart, Beethoven. I didn't understand a thing. As well as the whole concert, I didn't understand either. Afterward, Jared led me over to his parents. OMG, this was scary. I gave them the bouquet of flowers I've prepared and congratulated them on the concert. Luckily, they both seemed really friendly and were really content with my gift. But then Maeve appeared and hugged Jared's mom. "Jared, it's lovely to be around such polite girls." Smirking, Maeve replied, "I wouldn't be so sure about that. Margot here likes hiding her true personality." Okay, so I may have failed to keep my cool and blurted out some bad words. Oops. Jared and his parents looked shocked by this, but before I could try and rectify the situation, Maeve pulled out her phone and waved around a photo of me with Alfie. I wanted to explain, but I just ended up stuttering out a load of nonsense. In the end, Jared pulled me aside and told me, "I think it's best if you just leave." I ran out of there close to tears. Worse still, I couldn't run in this dumb dress. I'd lost Jared, and it was past curfew. So if I went back now, Scarlett would get mad at me. So I decided that I wasn't going to go back. Nope. Instead, I was going to run away. I'd been staying here for a couple of days. I feel safe here, and Alfie bought me some clothes and food. Ugh, why is she here? I wasn't in the mood for a lecture. But to my surprise, she rushed over to me and wrapped her arms around me. "How could you just leave me like that? Have you any idea how worried I've been? Anyway, Alfie told me everything. I'm sorry for misjudging you." She pulled away. "You do stink, though." "There's one more person who wants to see you, Margot." I looked at him with confusion. Then at the door, it was Jared. "Margot, when I saw that photo, I was shocked.
I thought I must be some joke to you, and you were really with Alfie. But then I couldn't stop thinking about you. Now I've spoken to Scarlett and Alfie. I know better. I like you, Margot. The real you. And I don't want you to think you have to change for me. Do you think you can give this idiot another chance?" I hesitated, pretending that it was something I had to think about. Then smirking, I shouted out yes and rushed into his arms. So, what now? Well, I'm back in the dorm, and yep, I still sneak out, and yep, Scarlett still covers for me. Jared and I are an official couple, and he's even helping me with a fundraiser concert to help out the homeless kids. So, I guess that this tough girl is actually not so tough after all.
Hey, I'm Nia, and I've always been a bad girl. I rock the rules. I don't care what people think about my own life and just do whatever I want. You only live once, and I don't waste a second to please others. I love tattoos and have plenty of them all over my body. I got my first tattoo when I was 16. I saved up my birthday money for it and took my older sister's ID when she wasn't looking. It was a cute little purple heart behind my right ear. Also, purple is my favorite color, which made me love it even more. Over the next few years, my tattoo collection grew. I got a part-time job alongside school and then college to pay for them. I love all of my tattoos, as they each have a special meaning. The tribal symbol on my shoulder blade shows that I am strong. The pretty tree and colorful leaf design on my thigh represent both my growth as a person and that fall is my favorite season. The Tinkerbell tattoo on my neck represents my small but fierce personality. And the Pegasus on my arm reminds me that I can fly through tough times. I have more, 18 in fact, all with their own unique meanings to me. But I'll be here all day if I list them all. My parents hate my tattoos, which only makes me show them off more. Whenever there's a family event, I wear an outfit that shows off the majority of my tattoos. My mom usually rolls her eyes at this, and my dad tells me, "You could have worn a cardigan." Seriously? A cardigan? I'm not a granny. One day, I came to my tattoo artist for a small tattoo on my wrist and saw a guy with completely black eyeballs. I just loved it and longed to be cool like him. The tattooist caught me looking and told me about it. Eyeball tattoos are also known as sclera tattoos, and they're done by injecting color under the conjunctiva, which is the clear membrane covering the front of the eye, and over the whites of the eye. That moment, I knew that I had to have it for my purple tattoo collection, but the cost of it was $1,000 per eye, so I had some serious saving up to do. I took on as many extra hours at work as I could, and I also did a few modeling jobs for a fashion company that my friend worked for. I didn't bother telling my family about my sclera tattoo plans, as I knew they'd freak out. I mentioned it to a few of my friends. One thought it was cool, while the other one was worried about the risks. She was so concerned that she bought me some funky colored contact lenses. I started wearing them all the time. I loved the reaction people gave me so much that it only made my longing to get my eyes tattooed increase. When my sclera tattoo day came, I was scared, but I was also excited. My tattooist reminded me that this was for life and that there was no going back. I told him to go for it. It was the most uncomfortable feeling in the world. I honestly thought I was going to throw up due to the pain. It felt like shards of glass were being rubbed into my eye. That pain happened 4 times in each eye, but it wasn't the worst part. I was so stressed during the whole time because if I moved my eyeballs just an inch, the sclera membrane would tear and the eye could be gone forever. Afterwards, my eyes were sore and puffy, but I was happy with the results. The next day, my eyes were swollen shut. I looked like I'd been stung by a swarm of angry wasps. Then, purple dye began streaming down my face, so that I was literally crying purple tears. I contacted my tattooist in a panic, and he told me that it was normal and it would stop after a few days. Over the next few days, the swelling went down, but sometimes it still really hurt inside. The best way to describe the pain is it feels the same as a throbbing headache, but in my eyes. I put up with the pain as the results were striking. I was so unique and elf-like. Naturally, my parents completely freaked out. Sometimes when my mom looks at me, she starts sobbing. She's melodramatic, and there's no need for it. I loved going to concerts and tattoo conventions with my friends, as people always stopped me and complimented my eyes. I stood out from the crowd, and I loved it. A lot of people ask if it's contacts. That's the #1 question. It kind of bothers me, actually. They'll say, "Oh, I love your contacts," and I'm like, they're not contacts. I went through far too much pain and spent way too much money for idiots to confuse them for contacts. After a week, my one eye was fine, but my other eye started leaking purple all the time. I'd come home with purple ink stained down my face. I had a permanent aching in that eye, and it was continuously sore and itchy. It got so bad that I'd even tear out blood. It happened in public a few times. One little kid saw it and cried to his mom that I was a monster. My tattooist kept telling me it was fine. Stupidly, I trusted him, as he'd done most of my other tattoos. Then, 2 weeks went by. One morning, I woke up and couldn't see a thing through that swollen eye. It was completely shut. I rushed to the hospital in panic, where I received steroid drops to decrease swelling, but it didn't work. I still couldn't be able to see anything out of that eye. It turns out that I shouldn't have trusted my tattooist, as while he was injecting color between the 2 layers inside of my eye, he injected the undiluted dye way too deep into my one eye. This caused the eye to swell and the ink to seep out. His bad, unprofessional tattooing has resulted in several trips to the hospital, with hemorrhage and sclera tearing. I am now permanently blind in my one eye. My mom still sobs when she sees me. People still cross the street to avoid me, and I've missed so much college with my hospital visits that it's likely I'll have to retake the year. I was foolish to rush into getting my eyes tattooed without thinking through the possible risks. I naively told myself that nothing bad would ever happen to me, but something bad did. Now, when I look in the mirror, I find the girl staring back at me disgusting. My need to look unique and different cost me my sight in one eye and my cute, natural looks. I made the wrong decision, and now I'll have to live with it. I now know that I didn't need to get eye tattoos to stand out. I was already unique. I just didn't realize it. We're all special, and we're all different from each other. Please embrace who you are and don't take dangerous risks to change the way the world sees you. I used to think that being beautiful meant I'd sail through life and always get whatever I wanted. Yeah, I know this sounds dumb, but back in high school, life was so much easier down to my good looks. All it took was a flutter of my eyelashes, and the nerds would do my homework for me. And girls invited me to their parties because they knew me going meant the cute boys would go too. It was nice having attention from other boys, but I was only interested in my boyfriend, Logan. He was a senior, and he was just perfect. He was so handsome, super smart, and a sports pro. There was one teeny tiny problem. I sucked at studying. It was just so boring. But to be honest, it didn't matter anyways, as I was beautiful. And being beautiful was enough. Besides, I did have one passion. I love singing and composing music. I don't publicize them or anything, but I'm not gonna lie, they were quite catchy. We had one long summer together before Logan went off to college. So I decided to surprise him with a love song I'd written for him. I showed up at his house with my guitar, ready to play it to him, but before I could start it, he said,
Ailey, I want to break up.
What? Why? I spluttered out.
I've met someone else. She isn't as beautiful as you, but she's smarter. We're going to study at Stanford together. Let's face it, a place like that's way out of your reach.
I couldn't believe what I just heard. I grabbed his arm and begged him to give our love another chance, but he just walked away. During the next few days, I kept calling and texting him, but he ghosted me completely. Feeling desperate, I searched for his girlfriend's info on social media and found out her name was Jolie, and she was one of the top students of another high school in the city. And OMG, how could he fall in love with such an ugly girl? Oh, turns out Logan wanted a smart girl, huh? So if I got into this college, then he would take me back, right? I mean, surely he'd pick a smart and beautiful girl over a smart, ugly one. That settled it. I was going to work my butt off for my senior year to get into Stanford. Geez, studying was way harder than I anticipated. It didn't help that I had loads of catching up to do. And why did Logan have to study economics? All the numbers and graphs made me feel super dizzy. I didn't know where to start. Everything was new to me, so I had to ask a couple of my nerdy admirers to help me out. At first, they actually laughed at me as they thought I was kidding. But when they realized I was being deadly serious, they handed me some books and tried explaining stuff to me. I even spent my break times in the library. Ugh, why was it like a maze in there? I swear I got lost and couldn't find my way out for at least an hour. One time, I even fell asleep in the library, and some dude thought it was funny to take a picture. And for days after that, everyone at school passed around the photo of me drooling on a pile of books. Ew! But despite those hardships, I couldn't give up. I even stuck a photo of Logan to my wall to remind me of my goal. I stopped hanging out with my friends and didn't go to any more parties. And I even missed prom to study. Needless to say, my friends really thought that I was insane or something. Even my mom was so worried that she wanted to take me to the hospital to be checked over. OMG. How ridiculous. Stop overreacting, people. Have you never seen a hardworking, beautiful girl before? And then something crazy happened. I received my letter from Stanford, and OMG, guess what? I got in! I couldn't believe it. And neither did my family and friends. Everyone was so surprised and happy for me. To be honest, giving up on music was a pity, but studying music wouldn't help me get Logan back. And this would. I was going to be at the same college as him, studying the same course, albeit a year behind. What could possibly go wrong? So, I moved to college and ended up with the geekiest roommate ever. She actually plastered math equations onto the walls. Ugh, what a weird girl. Moreover, studying here was even more boring than in high school. Much more. One time during a macroeconomics class, yep, it's as boring as it sounds, I had my earbuds in and was thinking up song lyrics when someone knocked on my desk. How dare they interrupt my creative flow? So I blurted out, "1 second, I'm writing," while my eyes were still on my notebook. Then I looked up to see Professor Bentley standing there. He snatched my notebook, saw my lyrics, then told me,
"Get out at once and never come back."
whatever. I was sick of this snooze-inducing subject anyway. Seriously, watching paint dry would have been more fun. I stormed out of there, ranting to myself about how I hated his lame class, when I turned a corner and saw Logan holding hands with his ugly girlfriend. Ugh! Why now? Logan stared at me like he'd seen a ghost, then asked,
Haley, what are you doing here?
I forced a smile at him, but before I could say anything, his girlfriend spoke out. "Oh, you're Ailey, my boyfriend's infamous stalker? Let me guess, Professor Bentley kicked you out? Figures, as he's allergic to brainless girls." Then she dragged Logan away. How dare she mock me? I was far too beautiful to be spoken to like that by the likes of her. I was going to show her. I'd soon win back my man. I went back to my room and listed some ideas. I could buy him a gift. Nah, too obvious. Or I could tag him in pictures of us together. Nah, too desperate. I know, I should stick to what I'm good at. In my case, that's music. Besides, how romantic would me singing a love song to him be? He wouldn't be able to resist. Some days later, I took my guitar out into the yard. A crowd began to gather around me, so I said, I wrote this song for my ex, Logan. Just wanted to say that I love you so much. Will you be my boyfriend again? Everyone around me cheered, and it made me even more excited, and I started singing. After I finished my song, Logan and Jolie appeared. He looked awkward, and she looked so mad, I thought steam might come out of her ears. Whatever, I didn't care about her. I shimmied over to them, then touched his shoulder. Honey, I worked so hard to get into the same college as you. Now, will you come back to me? Then, to my surprise, he angrily said,
Haley, please stop. We're over. You're crazy. All of this is crazy. Now, please, leave me alone.
I stood there gobsmacked as he took Jolie's hand and they walked off. I could hear the crowd whispering about me. I felt like my world was falling down. I was moping on my bed, daydreaming about happier days with Logan, when my roommate threw her phone onto my bed and said, "You might want to see this." I looked at it. What? It was me. Someone had filmed my failed serenade attempt, and now I'd gone viral. But the majority of the comments were super supportive, saying I had an awesome voice. After that, everyone in college knew my name. Okay, so all the attention felt good. Due to popular demand, I ended up releasing my song. Even the student council of the college invited me to join a performance at the school celebration. My college life just got better, as I was doing what I loved, and I made new friends. But I felt far from ecstatic, as I hated my course, and I still hadn't won Logan back. One evening, while I was stretching on the couch and thinking about Logan, a text arrived. It was from a strange number. They told me to hurry over to the dorm yard, as there was something wrong with Logan. There was a huge crowd gathered there. Oh no, this must be serious. Frantically, I pushed through them, and that's when I saw Logan standing there with his back to me, in the middle of a candle heart shape. He must have sent me the message. I shakily walked toward him, and then softly called his name. He turned around, got on one knee, but his face was still fixed on the ground. Then, to my surprise, he said,
"I really love you and want to be a part of your life. Will you marry me, Jolie?" Oh.
Wait, what? Jolie? I shouted. He looked up at me and loudly said,
Haley, what are you doing here?
Huh? What was going on? I looked back, and that's when I saw that some of their friends were standing behind me with some affectionate photos of Jolie and Logan, and also banners saying, "Will you marry me, Jolie?" Okay, so this clearly wasn't for me. Suddenly, Jolie appeared, and in a mocking voice said, "First you stalk my boyfriend, and now you ruin our proposal? Get real! He doesn't want you." Before I could say anything, Logan yelled at me.
Oh, Haley, please stop it. I'm begging you. Stop being so obsessed. It makes me sick. I don't love you anymore, and I'm never going to want you back.
I stood there totally mortified. I heard the crowd jeering at me and taking photos. I quickly ran away with tears streaming down my face. I angrily dialed back the phone number that had sent me the message, but it was blocked. This must have been someone's idea of a sick joke. A week later, my phone buzzed. What? It was from Logan. I quickly opened the message.
Hi, Ailey. Look, I found out that Jolie sent you the message to meet at the yard. My friend let slip to her about the proposal, so she came up with that prank to embarrass you. Your behavior made her feel very insecure, and although it was wrong what she did, you brought it on yourself. Please move on and find happiness, as this isn't you. Your actions have made you ugly, and you've lost yourself.
I burst into tears because I knew he was right. I gave up on my passion and applied for a course I had no interest in, and all for this guy that still didn't choose me. Now it was time to give up on Logan and this college. After all, neither were right for me. I might be beautiful, but looks alone don't buy someone's love. There's so much more to it than that. For now, I've moved back home, but I'm going to put my heart and soul into my music, then apply to a music school majoring in composition, because I finally realized that it isn't Logan who will make me happy. It's my passion. Hey, I'm Annie. Halloween was my most anticipated occasion of the year. Back in middle school, I used to live in a small town. Every year, there'd be a fun pumpkin patch with a scare maze, the local bakery gave out free cat and ghost-shaped cookies, and the whole neighborhood went decorating crazy and made sure they had heaps of sweets for the trick-or-treaters. My friends and I spent weeks planning our outfits and could dress up as anything we wanted. Sometimes it was a skeleton, and sometimes it was Disney princesses in horror versions. It was such a great time. But now, Halloween reminds me of a horrible memory. My family moved to the city when I started high school, and the kids are completely different here. Everyone seems to care more about how they look, and life seems a lot flashier. I didn't fit into this new environment. My non-branded clothes and messy hair made me pretty much invisible. After a few weeks of feeling like a complete outsider, I went home in tears. I told my parents that I didn't fit in and I wanted to go back to our old town and be with my old friends. My parents tried to convince me that the education system was very good here and I should try to adjust to my new life. Mom had made a new friend who owned a beauty salon, so she decided it'd be a great idea for us both to spend the day being pampered. My father drove me and my mother to the salon. They transformed my long, dull brown hair into a sleek, chestnut, shoulder-length style. They applied fake tan so I had a natural-looking glow, waxed my bushy brows, and showed me how to apply my makeup. I looked in the mirror and saw a stranger looking back at me. I didn't look like a small-town girl anymore. I looked so glam. Dad picked us up and took us to the mall. Mom helped me pick out some cute new outfits for school. Then, when my dad took out his wallet to pay for the bills, I saw the concerned look on his face. I knew they'd burned a lot of money today, and I felt bad. Mom looked so happy, though. She kept on complimenting my new look. I thought she was overdoing it, but still, it was nice not to be invisible. When Monday arrived, as I walked along the school corridor, all eyes seemed to be on me. At first, I thought something was up. Did I have an I suck sticker stuck to my back or something? Boys I didn't know gawped at me, and girls who'd previously blanked me glared at me. Soon, everyone at school knew my name. I wasn't alone anymore, as plenty of boys wanted to sit by me at lunch. It was nice not having to eat my sandwiches at a table by myself. Each morning, there were cute notes stuck to my locker. Sometimes, when I opened it, a bunch of letters and cards dropped out. As flattering as it was, these cliched compliments didn't impress me. It kinda got annoying saying no to dates over and over again. I wanted friends, not dates, but none of the girls liked me at all. When Jed, this popular boy, asked to pair up with me for an English project, I said yes to be nice. The problem is the cool girls were jealous, so they made their dislike for me clear. They were smart enough not to attack me in front of the crowd because they knew I was popular, at least with the boys. They cut up my sports shorts, so I had to run around the field in my super tight jeans. They broke into my locker and sprayed red paint into it, so it looked like a murder scene. Worse still, I got some on my pants and it looked like period blood, so I had to miss class and rush home to change. They even sneaked my makeup bag out of my backpack and smashed up my favorite lipstick. This officially unleashed the demon in me. You know, spoiling a girl's lipstick means you've chosen to get serious. I knew their weaknesses were the boys, so I agreed to go out with the cool boys. All of them. I went to the cinema with Jed, went to the amusement park with Bryn, and asked Dougie to help me pack my stuff right in front of the cool girls. I told them that I just wanted to try to see who was the right person for me, and those stupid boys were willing to chase me no matter what. Seeing the anger burning above the girls, I knew I had achieved my goal. But things are not as simple as I thought. Rumors about me spread around school, and I know those mean girls were behind it. I steal other people's boyfriends, that I'm a minor raised by some sugar daddy, that I'm so dumb I cheat on tests and pay someone named Zara to do my homework. It's ridiculous, as this Zara girl even admitted it all. I've not spoken to her once. Because of these rumors, even the boys began to ignore me. Having kids stare and gossip about me was far worse than being invisible. On Halloween, my school held a prom with a costume carnival. I was so excited, but I was also anxious. Because of the difficult situation, I chose to simply dress up as a faded dark witch. When I showed up at the hall, everyone stared at me and laughed. They separated, which opened up a small path that led inside. Confused, I stepped inside. Then I realized in the middle of the hall, there was me. There were actually 3 me's there. The 3 cool girls were wearing masks with scary cartoon caricatures of my face. On the back of their shirts was my printed name. When they turned around and looked at me, they screamed out in pretend fright, then laughed. I realized that the front of their shirts were, in turn, the words immoral, fake, and ignorant. It felt as if the limelight was illuminating me, one and only, and the whole hall seemed to whirl around with their laughter. I stood, petrified in my anger, in the middle of the hall, unable to do anything. This felt like a witch hunt, and my outfit didn't help the situation. But suddenly, a voice came from behind me.
Stop this stupid thing now.
I turned around and saw Jed there.
Living behind other people's faces seems to suit you,
Jed said to them. Then he grabbed my hand and pulled me away. For the first time in my life, I felt my heart flutter. He's so manly and attractive, exactly my style. But why hadn't I realized this before? It turned out that I didn't need to bother with people who were unimportant to me, but should only focus on the things that really matter. Now, Jed and I are an official couple. He's so sweet and caring. The other girls are still mean, but I just ignore them. Their cruel actions led me to find the perfect man, so it's their loss, not mine.
Hey, I'm Sophia. If you missed the first part of my story, I'll get you up to speed. I'm a hopeless romantic with the worst luck, until I stumbled upon the most gorgeous robot in my friend Gabriel's basement. Crazy, huh? Guess what? I also named him Edward and started dating him. But then, out of the blue, he vanished. So here I am, running around looking everywhere for my robot boyfriend, who had actually shut down. Ugh, I should have exercised harder. I kept running and running and running when bam! I accidentally ran headfirst into, oh my god, Edward! I immediately wrapped my arms around him so tightly. Where have you been? You got me worried sick! But hang on, his body's warm, and I could feel his heart beating. I let go and stared at him. This is Edward's face, all right, but something seemed off. I couldn't stop myself from poking his arm and pinching his cheeks. Whoa, you can blush now? Were you upgraded? Then I gave his hair a pull test and another hug. This is perfect. I love it. Then a drop of sweat landed on my cheek, rolling down to my mouth. It even tastes salty. Ed, you're so cool.
Enough already, crazy girl. You're lucky I don't condone violence against the mentally ill. Kindly get away from me, please.
So you're a real person?
What the heck?
Then why does he look just like Edward? As if things couldn't get any worse. The mean girls from school drove by. They seemed to have recognized me because their car slowed down and one girl stuck her head out. Walking to prom all alone? Where's your boyfriend? Did he see some sense and dump your sorry butt? Looks like you returned to spinsterhood for good. I couldn't say as much as a squeak back and simply lowered my head in shame. They were not wrong. Suddenly, someone linked arms with me. I looked up and saw that guy.
I'm her new boyfriend. You got a problem with my girl?
I was confused. So were the mean girls. Isn't he still the same guy? Is he crazy too? Birds of a cuckoo feather flock together. Let's go, girls. I was so grateful that he'd come to my rescue that I absent-mindedly clung onto his arm and jumped up and down in excitement. The guy just shook me off coldly.
Calm down. I only did it because I don't like seeing anyone being picked on, especially if they really are crazy. Anyway, do you remember where your house is? I'll take you home for safety.
Hey, I'm not crazy. I'm absolutely 100% normal. Let's see. The first person to discover America was Christ.
Okay, that's enough. No need to prove.
Then he told me his name was Nathan and asked why both me and those mean girls seemed certain he was my boyfriend. Yeesh. I couldn't exactly tell him I dated his doppelganger who's a robot, could I? He already thought I was nuts. It's just, you look a lot like someone I used to date, but, only from a distance. Close up, you have different eyebrows, different frowns, different smiles, and different expressions.
Okay, I guess that makes perfect sense.
Wow, he actually fell for that?
Okay, bye.
Wait, I still needed to find out if Nathan the human and Edward the robot were somehow connected. Hey!
What now?
I, enjoy talking to you, even though you think I'm crazy. Would you want to hang out again? I could show you my Sticker collection? Jesus, what are you saying, Sophia?
Sure, you can hit me up whenever. Here you go.
Oh, wow, that was easy. I guess I had much more games than I thought I was. But 3 days had gone by and I still hadn't texted Nathan. I followed the 3-day rule and waited. But what if he ghosted me? The possibility of rejection sounded bad. But not finding Edward seemed even worse. That thought freaked me out so much I hit send without thinking. But I felt regret right after looking at my nonsense text. No way he would reply. Then my phone dinged.
Not since I was 12. Why? Don't tell me you collect robots as well as stickers.
Just curious. I don't collect robots, but now I'm thinking about it.
You make collecting robots sound the same as collecting stickers.
We messaged back and forth all day, and then before I knew it, we arranged our first date. We met at the park and he brought me ice cream. I happily accepted it, while still focusing on my mission. Yum, ice cream! Do you think robots get sad that they can't eat it?
I imagine they don't give it much thought.
Wow, you seem to know a lot about them. Did you study robotics or artificial intelligence?
No, I didn't. It's obvious robots don't enjoy ice cream like we do.
So you don't want to be a robot?
No, not really.
I tried to subtly sneak more robot questions in, but he managed to answer all of them and never seemed caught off guard or anything. The thing is, I was enjoying spending time with Nathan, especially as I was extra lonely without Edward. So I agreed to go on more dates with him. I also decided to start visiting Gabriel after school again. Today, I brought her some cookies and apologized for being absent, but she seemed distracted. When I asked her what's wrong, she just said,
I misplaced something important and now my grandson is unhappy with me.
Oh no, she already knew about the robot. Have you seen it anywhere? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to activate it. It just looked so real and it followed me home and became my boyfriend, but then it vanished and...
Sweetie, what are you talking about?
It was me. I took the robot.
What robot? I was talking about the control for the toaster robot.
Say what? I was screwed. And now I really had to come clean. Then I showed her a picture of me with Edward and also me with Nathan.
Dearie me, they do look like twins. James hasn't said anything about it, so he probably hasn't noticed either. In the meantime, please keep looking for Edward, but it's best that you investigate the link between him and Nathan yourself. If I start asking James questions, he'll only get suspicious.
I was relieved Gabriel didn't scold me. She's right. I needed to solve these mysteries myself, and the only way was spending more time with Edward's identical human twin. And I'd been doing just that. Nathan and I had gone on a couple of dates already, and I liked how he was always sweet toward me, even though I was still shy and found it hard being around human guys. He always took care of me and didn't seem to notice any other girls. Best of all, we had a special spot just for us in this beautiful forest that Nathan showed me. I gradually noticed how similar he was to Edward, like how both of them often surprised me with sweet treats, didn't mind when I said or did silly things, and smiled whenever I smiled. Nathan was also super smart.
Do you know it takes 100 cocoa beans to make one candy bar?
I didn't know that. I just know how to love you.
Me too. You know what? The longer I'm with you, the cuter I find you. I just can't resist.
This cool guy had a silly side to him too, like when he'd bet me he could catch a squirrel or climb a really tall tree, which reminded me so much of Edward running after my cat. But unlike a robot, Nathan had this funny snort laugh and he chewed his nails. Ew! And he could be a grump when we were watching TV. He had this annoying habit of changing channels mid-show. ADHD much? Usually these traits would have put me off a guy. But for some reason, when it came to Nathan, I found them endearing. I guess relationships aren't always rosy, because humans are supposed to have imperfections, right? Although, I figured there are things we could accept or overcome together. So I encouraged him to give the nail biting a break, and he eventually stopped. Besides, I gradually can't get mad when you took over the remote anymore. Nathan, I'm watching it!
Babe, just 5 minutes, please.
And who knew that a high-speed car chase could be so thrilling? So far, I'd say our relationship had been spontaneous, unexpected, and a whole lot of fun. Time passed, yet there was still no sign of Edward. I owed it to Gabriel to solve this mystery before her grandson found out and got mad. I knew I had one option left. Ask Nathan directly. Nate, you need to come clean with me. Do you know anything about this robot?
Yeah, right. Calling me a robot. Very funny, Soph.
Okay then, do you remember doing this? I saw Nathan's grin fade to this puzzled look.
I don't know anything about this. It's concerning that someone is using my appearance for an artificial intelligence product. Who knows what this could lead to?
Talking to Nathan hadn't helped at all. I was left feeling even more confused than before. So I decided to take action. The next day when I came to Gabriel's, as usual, she was putting on her coat to leave. She told me she just had to drop off a present at her neighbor's, but she'd be back soon and I must stay and join her for dinner. Time and place, Sophia. Being alone in her house, I found myself staring at the basement door. That's right, I'd looked for Edward everywhere except here. Maybe I'll find some clues there. The coast was clear, so I headed down to the basement. I only wanted to see if there's any traces of Edward, then out of there. But I ended up discovering something shocking. Edward was there. Someone must have brought him back. Before I could get a grip of the situation, I heard footsteps. This could be my one chance of getting answers. So I hid in the corner and couldn't believe my eyes when I saw the person entering was...
Ugh! Why wasn't this jerk opening the door? I carried on with my thudding until my hands hurt. So it seemed like she'd gone already. What a sly fox! So the woman who lives here is my mom's friend, Carol. My mom, being the kind-hearted person she is, lent her some money to get herself out of a tricky situation. The problem being that Carol hasn't paid it back, and now she was ghosting my mom. Do you know what the worst part is? That money was for my college fund. Fueled with rage, I kicked the air to release my anger. But, oops. I watched in horror as a pebble flew through the air in slow-mo, then hit a car window. Oh dear. Swallowing my fear, I snuck closer to the car to inspect how bad the damage was. Suddenly, the car door opened and 2 thugs stepped out. I tried to stay calm, apologized, and offered them some money as compensation. Unexpectedly, these guys grinned.
Okay, sweetheart. If you want to make up for it, then follow us.
Just like that, one of them grabbed my wrist and pulled me away. Ugh, as if they were going to harm a defenseless girl. But too bad for these 2 doofuses. They're actually looking at a Taekwondo black belt master here. I was about to throw an axe kick when suddenly a guy appeared out of nowhere.
Don't worry, I'll take care of it.
Before I had time to blink, he lunged at the guys like a warrior and ended up beaten black and blue. Really? Who's rescuing whom now? Without hesitation, I threw a few kicks that made the 2 thugs turn pale. They ran back to their car, and when they were out of my kicking range, they turned their heads and sarcastically said,
"We spared you this once. Oh, and choose a better boyfriend next time."
I looked down to see the pathetic guy writhing on the ground. Oh yeah, I'd almost forgotten about him. He was pretty useless in a fight, but hey, at least he tried to help me. So I took him to a nearby medical station to bandage the wound. His name's Tyler. He's skinny, but yeah, pretty heroic, I must say. He still seemed to be in pain, so I offered him a ride home, but he quickly refused. Okay, fine. He must have been scared off by how fierce I appeared to be. Yet, as soon as I turned my back to walk away...
Wait, something's wrong with my phone.
What now?
Your number isn't in it.
Man, it's 2022 already, and he's still using that outdated pickup line? Still, I burst out laughing, then put my number in his phone. After that, we started messaging every day. He sent the cutest memes, and it made me feel good. To be honest, I know I can be kinda intimidating, so having a sweet guy like Tyler take an interest in me made my heart flutter a little bit. And there's no denying that he's cute. A real softie. Well, he is a music school student. A legit singer-songwriter to watch out for in the future. And so, we became a couple. However, it didn't take long for me to realize that there was something very strange about this guy. I mean, 100% of our dates were at fast food restaurants, and while I was ordering a Coke, Tyler would ask the staff for an extra cup and ice. I still remember how surprised I was when I first saw him surreptitiously pull out a bottle of dark-colored water from his pocket. Oh, but you're not meant to bring outside drinks in.
Don't worry, this is black coffee. It's basically the same color as Coke, so no one will know.
Huh? Did I hear him wrong? Turns out I didn't, as this became a regular occurrence whenever we were out to eat. But that's not all. On a rare occasion, we went for a fruit salad with burrata cheese. I almost choked on my food when Tyler took out a container of yogurt and tipped all the fruit on the plate in it.
Well, and here comes fruit yogurt, but I'll put it away for later. It's not so right to eat this here, isn't it?
Then one day, when it was our 3rd-month anniversary, Tyler said he was going to take me to this amazing French restaurant. Wow, I was so excited as he finally broke his rules. But turns out, it was just going to be another typical Tyler date. Things had gone wrong since the first minutes. When he parked up, he started searching his car for change. He even made me look down the side of the seat. Why, you ask? All 'cause the meter was $2.90, but he didn't want to pay $3 and lose a dime. Seriously, a dime! He ran off to find it and left me sitting there alone and hungry for 20 minutes. When he returned, he had this huge grin on his face as he waved the dime in my face. Oh boy, I was so mad. You're probably thinking it couldn't get any worse than that, right? Wrong. Not only did he order a starter as a main dish, but he also asked if there's a discount if he didn't get dressing on his salad. After eating, he rushed off to the restroom and left me with his wallet to pay. He arrived back just as I was about to tip the waiter $10. Seeing this, Tyler leapt across the table, grabbed the $10, and switched it for a nickel. Yes, I repeat, a nickel. Meanwhile, the surprised waiter sarcastically said,
"Sir, thank you very much for my nickel tip."
The customers close by all tutted at us. I sunk down into my seat. willing for it to swallow me up. Jeez, this was so humiliating. No surprise, I was in a bad mood as we left the restaurant. I was so annoyed I couldn't even look at him. He tried taking my arm and asked me what was wrong. Flinching away from him, I said, "Seriously? Do you even have to ask?" At that moment, a luxury car pulled up alongside us. The car window lowered, and OMG! Inside was Victoria T, this popular teen singer. Before I could register what was going on, Victoria sarcastically said, "Oh, look who's here. Isn't that my poor ex? Can't gold dig me, so you turn to this girl, huh? But your new plan doesn't seem to be working too well either, honey." And the car sped away. So, it turns out he's a professional gold digger? I mean, he hadn't actually asked me for any money, but there's no denying he was stingy. No wonder he never took me back to his place. There was a time when I was so tired of some family stuff at home that I just wanted to come over to his and rest for a while. But he made some excuse about his house being messy. Now I knew he was just keeping distant with me, so later he could dump me easier without any attachment. I was so furious I made a scene, meaning to expose his cheap shots for the whole world to see. Tyler was so embarrassed he fled the scene right away. Whatever. Good riddance. And since then, I didn't hear anything from him again. But, to be honest, I also felt a bit empty not having him around. I missed getting the cute messages he used to send and the soppy look on his face as he sang love songs to me. Oh boy, I'm a big cheeseball, aren't I? Then, one weekend afternoon, I was taking a walk when I happened to see Tyler come out of a cafe. Does he work part-time here or something? So I hid behind a corner and then followed him. I have to admit, I was curious about where he lives. But wait, this road is so familiar. Huh? And it led to Carol's house, the woman who borrowed money from my mom. I was still full of doubt till he pulled out the key to open the door. Ugh. Like mother, like son, huh? So, you both like to scam people, huh? Pay us back now.
Stacy?
Shut up! Scam's over. Pay us back.
I'm sorry, but my mom's in the hospital now.
So, I heard him out, and turns out it was just Tyler and his mom, and his dad had run off with some other woman when he was just a little kid. Growing up, times were hard, so his mom borrowed money to pour into stock investments, intent on providing them with a better life. Unfortunately, this only led to huge debts. All this stress was detrimental to her health, and now she was in the hospital, and Tyler had no other way but to live frugally to pay all the debt and hospital fees.
Stacy, I'm so sorry for hiding all this from you. I'll try my best to work to be debt-free and make it up to you.
Oh my heart fell hearing Tyler say that. All the angst just disappeared. Instead, I pulled him in for a big hug. He was a doofus, and he was my doofus, and I wasn't going to risk losing him again. On my way home, I kept thinking about ways in which I could help Tyler. Suddenly, the wind blew a poster across my foot. A city's television singing competition, with the prize up to $20,000. That's it, Tyler. Why not? This was definitely a sign. I sent Tyler a picture of the poster and told him he had to join. He was also really keen on the idea and started practicing really hard every day. He texted me each time he finished practicing, sometimes even at 2 or 3 a.m. The big day arrived. Tyler looked so cute in the suit I'd arranged for him. When he hit the chorus, our eyes met, which made me feel so sentimental. But out of nowhere, Victoria got up on stage, snatched the mic from his hand, and said, "My apologies to the audience, but I have to expose this person. He and his mom manipulated people into giving them thousands of dollars, then never paid them back. This kind of man doesn't deserve to be here on the stage. He'll stain the whole competition."
Vic, I appreciate your feelings for me, but I already have the one whom I want to protect. I wish you could find someone good for you and better than me. Ladies and gentlemen, it's true that my family is in debt, but we do not and never run away from this. No matter how tough our lives are, I still live true to my conscience and my passion for music.
I came here with a pleasant and carefree attitude, so I don't care what people say about me. I just want to give all of myself to music and the audience. Thank you. And now, I'll carry on with the performance.
And then he started singing the song he wrote for me. At that moment, the music nerd was no longer there. Instead, there was a man with incredible inner power. I'm so proud of you, Tyler. Guess what happened next? Tyler won the first prize. I was bursting with pride. Then he immediately came to my house to give my mom the money.
Huh? Please take it. Thank you for helping my mom when she had a hard time. Please find it in your heart to forgive her. She's sick and could use a good friend. Oh, but the thing is...
So, turns out, Tyler's mom didn't borrow my college fund money. The two moms talked each other into stock investments. When they lost it, my mom didn't dare to tell my dad and me what she'd done, so she fabricated the whole lending money story. Ugh, Mom. Unacceptable. After that, the three of us went to visit Tyler's mom at the hospital and gave her the prize money to pay off her debts. She burst into tears. Then the two moms hugged and apologized for being so stupid that their kids had to deal with the consequences. Crazy, huh? But you know what? Thanks to all this drama, I found the one who was also the debtor of my life.